I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. I was like, you out.
Buy our merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
So buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. You guys can't see us right now because we want you guys to really get the experience.
It's it's like before a show.
Yeah.
When they have the curtain up and you're about to wait for the curtain to drop. We're testing this out for season 3.
Yeah.
To see if you guys would prefer it this way.
That's what it's about.
Build the anticipation.
Has nothing to do with
whoops, and the real deal though.
Us not being prepared. No, has nothing to do with that. All right,
here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome.
Back again. Had a wonderful time over on the Middle America side. Shout out to all my Middle Americans.
Shout
out to all my Middle Americans.
Shout out to all of them.
Let's see what Sori's gonna do and mess up something that's perfect.
How rude.
Ben Bear, darkness.
No, parents.
Good to see Archero. For some reason, I feel like I haven't seen Archero in a while. I gotta tell you guys, that movie that show that we did, Midnight Mass, was so fun.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what was fun about it, but it was so fun.
I don't know what was fun. I enjoyed just having a really long time because on our long streams we're looking at 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But this was double that. We were looking at 9 hours that we all hung out together.
Yeah.
So I
think for the most part we were kind of all experiencing stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the guy, the director, I'm assuming had already seen it.
Yes.
But it was basically 7 episodes, and we had so much fun watching it. So, also you may have noticed that we also have been putting up some shorts, and the logic behind that is it's if I could title it, we would put it as the bright side, because we do a lot of serious stuff, and the shorts are kind of they're either wholesome content, like the dad seeing his daughter after X amount of time, and it's just also funny content, just people being funny. So it's kind of the bright side of things. So if you know where to look for shorts, it's a category on our selection. If you look for shorts, you'll see that we've got, I think there's 20 of them up there. YouTube has temporarily suspended our channel. That happens to us once in a while. So yeah, it's really, really fun.
Guys, really, those shorts are when I'm gonna chill out and have some me time. I go scrolling through shorts and I find stuff that makes me laugh. That's what's really going on over there.
Yeah.
I mean, Vinny and I are both posting, so you're getting stuff from both of us. Thanks, Middle. But our top watched shorts are the ones that
Yeah.
like, gave me a real good laugh before I shared it with you guys.
The people have spoken. Apparently, nobody likes my sense of humor.
Yeah,
but
apparently.
they love hers. Surprise.
Apparently, yeah, and you can't say that's because they're picking you because you're sorry. Nobody knows.
Yeah, there's really nothing I can do with that one.
Yep.
So.
You're like, oh, they always go for y'all.
Yeah. Whatever platform you're on, click like. Yeah, if you're on Rumble, you're gonna have to check that out.
Guys, one time, Vin, he used to drink Red Bulls all the time, and he would just leave them wherever he was. And somebody stole his Red Bull and knew it was his, but stole it anyway. And then when he was like, "Hey, where's my Red Bull?" Instead of saying, what they said was, "I disposed of it."
Yeah. Yeah.
This person never talked like that either.
Yeah.
It's like people using fetus instead.
Yeah. It took
What
him. It
do
took
you
him.
mean?
Well, it took him a second to
come up with that?
Come up with the response. Said he disposed of it.
Oh man! Shout out to Copy and Paste. Let's go.
All right, guys. Let's go. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Let me introduce
Darkestrah.
what's going on here.
Darkestrah.
As you guys know, we have our patrons. Shout out to our patrons who have been with us. Some of them for literally years. We've got some fun stuff coming down the pike. Remember, if you already have a subscription to Patreon, you're automatically going to be grandfathered into whatever the frig we're doing. If you don't, and you can't be in on the free tier because that won't count because you're not going to get a ticket that way because the tickets will go out to the $1 tier and up. So just giving you guys that information. But anyway, shout out to our patrons. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But one of the things that we do for our patrons is that they get to vote on songs that we're going to listen to. So we have 4 picks tonight that came from our different. It looks like we've got 3 different Patreon groups. They hang out on Discord and stuff. Anyway, the first band is called Darkestrah, Destroyer of Obstacles. Oh, that sounds like Jesus, Destroyer of Obstacles. All right. Archero says, for this poll, all songs had to include at least 1 string instrument, such as violin, cello, harp, or others. Other than the guitar.
I was going to say, doesn't guitar count as a string instrument?
Other than the guitar,
He said
of
other
course.
than guitar.
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
Middle Earth nominated the band Darkestrah from,
Kazakhstan.
There are violin parts in this song, although I think they may actually be synth. However, the song also includes a divan, which is a Kurdish version of the lute. You can see them playing one in the attached photo, which is on the thumbnail, if you got to see that. This song, Destroyer of Obstacles, is from their brand new album from March 2024. All right.
Ben's funny. He said, the funny thing about my patronage was that I was on the dollar tier for a couple months, and then you started dabbling with live streaming, and I quit Patreon because too much live streaming, and now I can't go without them and have had you do many of them. Yeah.
Wait, why did the live streams have anything to do with that? I don't get it.
He didn't.
You didn't like the notifications?
He didn't like all the live streams. You know, it represented a different format. You know how people are. But then he said he started getting live streams and he can't do without them now. You know, what can you do? All right, here we go.
All right, you guys, let's check it out.
Do you have the lyrics?
Yep. I'm about to send
those the lyrics
to you.
right there?
Yeah, but you're gonna go to 1941, so you get that while I get you the lyrics. Look, it even has that. I'll add that in there so you can see all that.
Script.
Yeah.
I can always tell when Middle's doing stuff. All right, guys, hold on. Let me get this here. Darkestrah. Give me a second, guys.
There you go, and that's coming your way.
What are we going now?
1941.
Okay, got it. Let me just get these lyrics in this beat.
And then I'm gonna get the timestamp over here on Rumble.
Okay. All right. So I got those lyrics. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, guys, here we go. Darkestrah. What's the name of this song again?
The name of this song is Destroyer of Obstacles.
Destroyer of Obstacles. Let's get these lyrics out here. Bada bing, bada boom.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
And it goes from what to what now?
Oh, that is going to go from 1941 to 2910.
All right. Here we go, guys. Let's go.
Силер тарап кете бергиле. Биз калабыз. Анткени душманды өткөзбөскө айылдан ант ташып чыкканбыз.
I like that language.
Yeah.
Кан манастын тукуму ушинтип аркка качат беле.
It makes you feel
Тизе
emotional.
бүккөнчө тик туруп өлгөнүбүз артык эмеспи?
My lord.
That's that instrument, right?
I think. What's he saying here? What is that? What is that? What was that last phrase in Arabic? That last phrase at the end. What was that? That was incredible. Yeah, the irony. Anytime I see music that like metal music that has like any Arabic in it, it's always like crazy to me. Muhammad made instrumentation haram, so the only thing he liked was like drums. So that was allowable, but any sort of stringed instrumentation or whatever, he didn't like it. So, like for most Sunni Muslims in the world, that's haram, and it's so funny because like that seems to be like the main problem with Islam in the West, is that it's like one of the, it's crazy because like I got into it, that whole crew of people I got into it with, and they hid the stuff or whatever. Them,
they hid stuff.
You know, like the deleted the discussion we had and all. They lost the discussion, whatever it was. Like we were still talking, when all that stuff was going down, and they were asking me for a review. I mean, I did it, but I'm like, y'all ain't supposed to be listening to music. Like, how did this?
And this type of music.
Yeah, I was like, how does this work? And he was like, I said, why do y'all do that? And he's like, we just do, man. We just do. And I was like, I just let it go because I'm like, you know what? Like,
yeah,
they're already, living out like their religion. You know what I'm saying? It must be hard,
Oh, it's gotta be.
music is such a it's a soundtrack.
Oh my
I
gosh.
remember I took a class, I forgot what it was. It was an elective class in the 7th grade, but she pointed out that like you'll never see a commercial without music. I'm like, that's true. Like there's a music everywhere that we do. So like shout out to all my Muslim friends. Like y'all,
It's like a quick slip into your soul.
yeah. Like to
Okay.
me, like that to me, like honestly, like that's one of the reasons I know Islam can't be a real religion. Like honestly, like okay, like music is out.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Music is out?
Wait,
Okay.
Hold on a minute.
Okay, there's no way this can be from God, bro.
Yep. Psalms is like, bring your stringed instruments, bring it, praise the
Yeah,
Lord.
bring everything. Yeah, anything you can to
Yep.
make noise.
Let
All right.
everything that has breath praise the Lord. All right, listen. So Vinny says to me, he's like, ask your friend X, Y, and Z thing. And so I pull up ChatGPT. I really don't know which friend you were talking about, but that's my friend.
I was
Anyway.
I was telling you to ask Middle.
Yeah, okay, well, I asked ChatGPT. And in this situation, I did the same. So you asked what that is. I translated it to English. It says, the provided text appears to be in a language that uses non-Latin characters, possibly Persian or related language. Here is the English translation. We are one entity. My currency is wisdom. This is the first time I feel it. This is where all the love is. My time is now and not yesterday. This is where all the people are coming together.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed.
Arabic is such a beautiful.
But it's not Arabic. Possibly Persian. So it says.
Yeah, that looks like
It did look like Arabic to me as well, but I'm gonna go with my friend here.
Well, it did say that it's not. It looks like what do you call that?
Is it Arabic?
What I forgot what they speak over there in Afghanistan. This is my mind. Okay. On the left hand of Erlich, you stand clad in dark splendor of arms, destroyed. It was interesting because I'm pretty sure that dude was singing in English, but it was like
Really?
yeah, especially at the beginning because I was able to follow along with some of the things that he was saying. English.
I assumed I wasn't gonna be able to, so I didn't even try.
Yeah, like if you go
That's
back, you'll
weird.
see like he was speaking like some form of English.
Oh.
At the left hand of Erlich, you stand, clad in dark splendor of arms, destroyer. Who did you think this was? Who did you think this was referencing?
I didn't know who it was referencing, but I said it sounds like Jesus when it said destroyer of obstacles. And I mean, obviously, as it starts, showing itself, it wasn't. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be about him. It just reminded me of. But they gave some descriptions that I'm unfamiliar with. So like he says, the black one. And he says, with a black snake as your belt, and the dance, and you dance to the gnashing of teeth.
Yeah,
Gnashing of teeth. I only have ever heard that reference like hell. Like,
yeah. So this is a description of God that almost never gets used and never gets sung about in churches. But I mean, it is something that was sung about in the early church, if you consider the Old Testament church the church.
Yep.
And it talks about God, how he wrapped himself in darkness that covered him like a tent, and he was hidden by dark clouds heavy with water. And so God showing up in darkness in the Old Testament many times was God in a rescuing role.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting because we've got these very simplistic ideas. God is light, Satan is darkness, blah, blah, blah. But there are times when God is celebrated for wrapping himself in darkness, as the text before it shows. So I'm like, okay, this could still be, as a Christian, a song that you aim Godward. I just thought it was very, very interesting.
I agree. Yeah.
It's very interesting about, like, that almost never gets talked about, God wrapping himself in darkness or whatever.
Yep.
But that is there's a lot, I've had a lot of very good moments with God from that perspective.
I agree, and there's also a verse that says that even darkness is light to you.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah, I know that one, but like, it's like he wraps himself in darkness. I was like, okay, that's my guy. That's my guy. So, I really appreciate those, and that's one of those things in the Bible where it's like, that's a me and God thing, because I know there are not millions of Christians around the world right now celebrating God for wrapping himself in darkness. Like, I know it. So I'm like, all right, this is something I have. Excellent. Even if I'm sharing with you bums, it doesn't matter, because it'll be out of your brain soon. It never left mine.
Roll beneath Vin again.
No, it's not. It's not even. That's not even.
No,
one of those.
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you based off of the other things that we said before.
Oh well, yeah. I don't think the thing that's as funny and crazy as you think it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't.
I just think you're you and you don't realize what it. Yeah, especially with the context. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not going into that right now. So Erlik is Turkic and Mongolian mythology. It's the god of death, Erlik.
Yeah.
How do you say Erlik?
I think it's Erlik.
Erlik?
At the left hand of Erlik, you stand clad in dark splendor of arms, destroyer of clamor and vanity. Yeah, death will do that to you. It'll destroy all the clamor and your vanity. That's crazy. You, the disperser of doubts, the great black one, the sword of the path, subjugator of demons and gods. See, all of that you can easily fit Jesus into that verse. Let my enemies fall down before you. Let all obstacles fall in my heart. Go ahead.
Let all obstacles fall in my heart. I liked that line actually when we were listening to the song.
Yeah.
There's a lot of obstacles that can come into our heart, and it's funny because obstacles, when you think of obstacles, you automatically think of like what's outside of you. But
right.
When they put the obstacles in your heart, I thought that was an interesting even phrase to say, also because if something's in your heart, that means you probably had something to do with it getting there. You know what I mean? Like the obstacles that we have something to do with that are internal, and yeah.
What?
I don't have a full thought about it because it's sometimes I see in pictures. I think a lot of times I see in pictures, and I can't sometimes describe what I see because I haven't really like fully seen it. That sounds really weird, but yeah. I just liked that phrase because I guess because it gives a sense of that there's something you could do about it. If you have an obstacle in your heart, like you can do something about it. And like I said at the beginning of this, for me, the song reminded me about Jesus because he's the one that helps with that. I've had a lot of obstacles in my heart over the last, especially over the last year. I've noticed a lot of them, whether they were there and I didn't really realize it, or they came to me. Regardless, I became aware of them within the last year, a lot of them, and so it's just cool to see. Like that's Jesus. He takes away those obstacles. He helps you. Anyway, I feel weird talking about this right now. I'm not sure why. So, move on.
Well, the Great Black One is not something that most people would associate with God or Jesus or any of the good guys. Mm-hmm. But again, there's passages that talk about God wrapping himself in darkness. When he showed up in Mount Sinai, he turned off all the lights and all the rest of it. I just think that there's a mysterious side to God. I mean, there's a mystery in that entire realm. The what do you want to call it, the spiritual world, and now it's in vogue to talk about extra dimensional intelligences, whatever people want to talk about. Like that whole realm is kind of mysterious to us just on its face because it's we're not used to it because we're used to this platform. Mm-hmm. But even when you think about God, I think about that a lot. It's like, okay, the whole point of eternity, and some of this has to do with Hoffman, because Hoffman was like, he's got this conscious agents theory, and all of us are collections of like hundreds of millions of different consciousnesses that have decided to, hang out here or whatever. And the guy said, okay, so what is the goal of existence then? And he was saying that the goal of existence is that these conscious agents have basically said we're going to have every experience we could possibly have, and we're going to pursue all the knowledge of the universe that we could possibly have. And so that's the meaning of life, which was very interesting to me because Hoffman places the meaning of life to be knowledge of something, And most of us place the meaning of life to do something, to love each other, whatever. Hoffman places it as to attain the knowledge or the experience of the infinite.
Mhm.
And those really are not different things. Those are the same thing, because to know God is to love God.
Mhm.
If you're apprehending God correctly, then it is to know him. And that's why you celebrate the darkness of God, in the sense of darkness conceals things, right? And so there's a very
Mystery.
interesting phrase in the description of King Solomon. It says that he was familiar with dark arts or whatever, or dark sayings. It says that the dark sayings of Solomon, especially in the King James, it uses the term dark sayings of Solomon. And it was funny because I was listening to this preacher, and the preacher was saying that Solomon isn't who you think he is. He was evil and like he was Chuck Missler. He's like, look right here, it talks about he knew dark sayings. And so, which is really interesting, because I think the Quran, sorry Muslims, but I think that Muhammad or somebody heard that phrase. And so when the Quran tells the story of Solomon, he's dealing with all these jinn, and they teach him witchcraft and all this other stuff. And so it's like they taught him, like, Solomon was the one that brought magic into the world. He was the one that, like, flew the magic carpet, all that thing. Remember that whole discussion?
Yeah, with the 3,000 chairs on it.
Yeah. So, which you can say, like, that's a phenomenological way of talking about, like, an airplane or something, because an airplane flies and it's got 20 seats in it or whatever. Like,
Just said 3,000.
yeah, but you could just say a very big ship. Like, that's fine. I don't care about that. But the point is that, like, he's saying Solomon knew these dark sayings. And so, like, the way this preacher was talking about it is like, yo, Solomon was, like, into dark arts. He wasn't really a Christian. Just because his dad was doesn't mean that, it says right here he's into the dark arts. I've since changed my view on that. I think what it means with Solomon's dark sayings was that Solomon had access to wisdom about God that the rest of us did not. And there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things about God that are dark, in the sense that he hasn't revealed those things to us. And so they're dark in the sense of they're mysterious. We don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of questions that have, like, a 2-word answer. If God were to say, "This is why," we'd say, "Oh, that makes perfect sense." Like, for example, we know why Jesus went to the cross, but that was, like, the most illogical, irrational thing ever. For the best person who's doing the most good to be cut off at the peak of his powers,
Right?
It makes no sense. But we know the dark saying relative to the crucifixion. Like, we understand what's beneath that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of aspects about God that are still dark, that are not revealed, at least officially in Scripture.
Mm-hmm.
And when I combine that with Hoffman's understanding of what the purpose of existence is to attain this knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jesus says, "Now this is eternal life, that they know you,
Right,
the
that's
only
what I
true
was
God, and
thinking,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ whom you sent." He didn't say that eternal life was loving God. He said eternal life was knowing God. But the reason for that is because to know God is to love him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to truly know him
Yeah.
with a redeemed mind is to love him.
Yep.
Anything I've ever discovered that is new about God always made me love God more than I did the day before. So go ahead.
Also, I remember when we were talking with that girl that she was actually having some issues with being possessed by demons. She was gaining a knowledge of God,
Right.
but it was growing her to hate God more.
Right.
Because she wasn't seeing him for who he was.
But your heart has to be in a certain. Your heart has to have a certain disposition to where those dark things become precious to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are things that God has revealed to me that I don't tell anybody just because I want that for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not telling none of y'all none of that.
But I
want
think
it
that
for
it's
myself.
supposed to be like that. It sounds like really selfish the way you just said it, but I think that it's similar to, certain relationships, like marriage you don't tell everybody everything. I mean, some of those things are
Right.
just for the two of you.
Yeah.
And I think that, there's enough mysteries in God that all of us could have secrets with him and still leave more secrets to be found out. I mean, it's God.
Well, and like, each of us has, like, personal mysteries, like, why did this happen in my life, blah blah blah, that type of thing.
Yep.
So I really like that, because I was like, I was like really relating to God in the situation. At the same time, with Black Snake as your belt, you dance to the gnashing of teeth, the light of the eye on your forehead, which is like the third eye, right? Like, that's the
Mm-hmm.
your third eye is up there. cuts through the darkness like steel. You bring peace with your wrath. Universal calm in your rage. Your bloodlust is the breaking of the circle. I'm assuming that means breaking of a cycle, but he didn't know how to say it. Your strike is the fading of passion. So right here, there's a bunch of antonyms here. Like you dance to the gnashing of teeth. Usually the phrase gnashing of teeth, especially from a biblical perspective, is that's the emotional state of people in what we call hell or outer darkness.
Yep.
Where Jesus says where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now that gnashing of teeth could be you're in so much pain that you're grinding your teeth. But there is a parallel in Acts chapter 7 when Stephen is being stoned and Stephen is rebuking the Jewish leaders for constantly always being against God's prophets and being more concerned about the land than about being righteous people. And so they responded by gnashing their teeth, and the context there was rage. So the weeping and gnashing of teeth is not...
You're talking about a state of anger?
Right. They're in a state of perpetual rage and hatred of God. That's what it means for the weeping and gnashing of teeth. So when Stephen was rebuking them, they called him an anti-Semite, and it literally says they covered their ears while they were gnashing their teeth, and then they went to stone him to death. They went to kill him. Jeez. And they did kill that. And them folks still doing that shit out the way, by the way. You better be careful about who you tell the truth to, because folks will kill you and then blame you for your own death. So, like, with Black Snake as your belt, you dance to the gnashing of teeth. The light of the eye on your forehead cuts through the darkness like steel. So he's got some sort of access to information that the rest of us don't have. You bring peace with your wrath, universal calm in your rage. Now, I see how that could work, right? Because if you've got a guy that really can't be contested, he will bring peace with his wrath, because he'll just eliminate everybody that's pissing him off, and then we'll have peace. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like my Muslim friends. Shout out to the Islam, but they're like, yeah, Islam's about peace. Yeah, man. It is about peace. After we do jihad, fi sabilillah, and you either die or say shahada or accept dimitude. So it kind of works. You really can't harmonize this with Jesus in this verse, I don't think, because Jesus does not present himself as celebrating the destruction of people, especially people in hell. I mean, he doesn't even, Ezekiel says God does not delight in the death of the wicked. And so I don't see really Jesus dancing to the gnashing of teeth. I do see the light on the eye of your forehead cuts through darkness. You bring peace with your wrath and universal calm in your rage. Your bloodlust is breaking of the circle. Your strike is a fading of passion. So it's kind of one of those things where, like, this being, whatever he is, he's going to do what he's going to do. And he's not going to have anybody to kind of, and that's why it says he's standing on the left side of Erlich, and Erlich is sort of like the god of death or whatever in their mythology. And it looks like it's a kind of a warrior's prayer. Because in the Old Testament, when you see that, Yahweh's marching out like a man of war, it's talking about how the armies of Israel were able to overcome other armies. And so the idea was that, like, God was empowering them and marching, before them, and that's why they were able to win. And so this seems to me like the shit that you say, when you're about to go and do what you need to do, when you need to go out into battle. Like, you are the instrument of the wrath of this God.
Yeah. Oh, I see that.
And you're going to bring peace by and there were people that had that thought. Genghis Khan, not so much, but definitely Alexander. Alexander definitely had that in his mindset about, he truly, truly believed that he was bringing peace and improving the world through the process of Hellenization. And there's a sense in which he was right, because Hellenization and the real practical ways that Alexander set up municipalities and connected the ancient world to the Western world was used by the Christians to great effect. The universalization of language and things like that in that region, as well as the ability for there to be trade routes that could be walked upon, and highways and byways and things of that nature, created a situation where Christianity was able to spread like wildfire in the ancient world that would not have happened without the process of Hellenization. So you do have guys in history where they were like, yo, our mindset and our view of the world is the correct and only way to look at the world, and we're here to civilize these people. We're gonna have to kill a bunch of people because we have to take all their property and shit. But after we kill all your leaders, you're gonna see that they were inferior and we were superior. And it worked for Alexander. You know, unfortunately or fortunately, he died pretty young. It's one of those things where God's like, "Yep, okay, you completed your mission. Now it's over with. Get in. Come home." And again, according to some Muslims, like Alexander the Great converted to Islam. I'm not trying to be funny, guys. I swear to you, I'm not trying to be funny. But Dual Al-Qarnayn. I mean, Google it. Dual Al-Qarnayn. Google it. You'll see Alexander the Great. You know. All right. I don't believe that. I think that claim is actually pretty embarrassing for Muslims right now. We actually listened to Yasser. Well, I mean, the idea that Alexander the Great converted to a monotheistic religion is it's insane. Like, it's completely ahistorical. There's no way. Like, he, you know, how the hell the Seleucids, they all forgot afterwards? Like, come on, man. So it seems to me that this person is appealing to this God to bring about world peace through warfare. The path is clear now. My vision is clear. The expanse is open. My vision is clear. Yeah. My step is sure. No hindrance before me. My strike is sure.
Okay.
There it is. Like, this is war. See what I'm saying? There's no hindrance. My strike is sure. So when he's talking up here about when he talks about like what is he talking about? Dispersing the let my enemies fall. Let all obstacles fall in my heart. Right there. I think the obstacles is, you know, a lot of warriors before they go out to battle, they're worried about that last obstacle, which is the inability to kill someone, because your entire life you were told that killing is bad. Yeah. And so everybody has to find some way, but especially after, you know, when you're going out the first time, you got to find some way to kind of harmonize that.
Yeah, I bet.
That very basic instinct.
Yeah.
And to go off and do something else. So when he says, in this context, it looks to me like he's talking about let all obstacles fall in my heart, in the sense of like, just make me a warrior. Let me do what I need to do. And it's not always about killing people as much as it is about like doing your job so that your buddies, you know what I'm saying? Like, your buddies don't die or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like to me. It's like, there's no hindrance before me. Like, it got fulfilled. I'm going to strike sure, and folks are going to die. And then there's that last, what was that last phrase here?
And that last phrase is saying right here.
We are one entity. My currency is wisdom. This is the first time I feel it. This is where all the love is. My time is now and not yesterday. This is where other people are coming together. So, again, there's a lot of Americans that think this way, especially like the early days of the GWAT. There was a lot of like, we're coming here as saviors. They're going to love us. We're bringing democracy, blah, blah, blah. Initially, it was about weapons of mass destruction. And then we couldn't find weapons of mass destruction. It became hearts and minds. And it became, we're bringing peace and democracy to the Middle East, blah, 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 blah. And you had people that genuinely believed that. Because why would our government lie about something like that? It couldn't be that we're sending people off to do horrible things. You know what I'm saying? For the purpose of expanding our empire. I think human beings have always needed a higher reason than just, we're going to collect these people's resources.
Yeah.
I think that honestly, one of the earliest functions of religion, what we would call good or bad, is to justify warfare. Because it is such a burden on the human soul to take the life of another person, and to do it for something as cheap as we want their resources just doesn't work for the human psyche. Yeah. And so I'm convinced that religion was instituted on a global level.
That's so interesting.
To provide explanatory power for war.
Yeah.
And also the means by which you forgive yourself for doing what you did in war. It's got to be some higher purpose. Just obtaining more material, which is essentially what fighting over resources is. It's just accumulating more material. Is not enough to convince a human being that taking the life of another human being was worth it. And so you've got to have other reasons for why that is.
That's crazy. I never thought of it that way, but Hey, shout out to Applejack. He said, blood really got me to join Rumble, brother Vin and Sori. Corrupted me. I might as well join the village now. Still need the Discord. And I don't know. This is kind of new to me. He says that he's a monthly supporter. Don't know what that is.
That's cool.
Yeah, super cool.
That's
Oh, look, it highlights his messages if you become a monthly supporter.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
all right, okay.
gang.
That's
Okay,
pretty cool.
okay. We gotta do something for that. We gotta
Yeah.
do something for. Hey, AJ, send me something. Send me something to do for you. That's awesome. Yeah. So I think that's crazy. But I do think that that's one of the main functions of religion. If you look at any ancient religion, they all have to do with how you conduct war. Like there's a lot of like prayers and stuff for like the agricultural stuff because you're depending on nature. But they all have like, this is a war, blah blah blah. This is what you need to do. So I think that that's one of the earliest functions of religion was to order was to have the justification for war, and you see it obviously in the Old Testament. Like there's obvious justification for war from a religious perspective. A lot of the interpretations of Genesis 3, for example, you have Israelis right now saying that Genesis 3:15 is about them and what they're doing to the Palestinians because they're the seed.
Holy shit, are you serious?
Yeah, they're the seed of the woman, and the Palestinians are the seed of the serpent, and so they're crushing them and blah 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 blah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's actually the most popular interpretation of Genesis.
What?
Yeah. Because remember, the term seed operates like fish.
Yeah, exactly.
It's plural and singular simultaneously.
Exactly.
So they just focus on the plural side of it. They just say, look, this is telling the story, and then the next thing you have is Cain and Abel, right? And so that's boom, it's popping off, right? The seed of the serpent versus the seed of the woman.
Sin is crouching at the door, and its desire is to have you.
Yeah.
This is the battle of the seed.
Yeah, but that's not different. I mean,
they're making it about flesh and blood. They're not making it about the seed of the woman versus the seed of the serpent being there's a supernatural element to this. There's Satan and then the future seed of being Christ that's going to crush the head of the serpent.
Well, no, you could still say there's a supernatural element because you could say that God supernaturally made the nation of Israel and they're by default a supernatural people, and that the people that are coming against them are by default they're motivated by Satan. And so they'd be the seed of the Satan. So, I mean, I think it's obviously I think it's a wrong interpretation of Genesis 3:15, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
you take a verse that's about Christ.
Well, remember, all the messianic verses that are applied to Christ are mostly applied to God's people as well. Right.
Yeah,
so
who are the people? Okay, in a biblical sense, who are God's people?
You don't need to tell me that. I'm just saying, like, this is
I'm
how
so
religion.
offended that
This is
they're
how
saying
religion
it that
gets
way.
used. Religion gets used to justify.
That's crazy.
Warfare.
And what they're doing to those people.
That I'm just saying, like, people use religion to do that, and the Bible's no different. I'm not saying that that's God's intention. I'm just saying that it's very clear that that's what people do with the text. And what's his face, right? One of these guys said that the Palestinians were Amalekites because you have you have all those passages where God says, take out the Amalekites, leave none of them alive, blah blah blah. And so they're saying, like, these guys are Amalekites, we're going to leave none of them alive, blah blah blah. So, like, I'm just showing how they're using the Bible to pretty decent effect, because evangelical Christians are like, that's right.
It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much. So, Sori's outrage is amusing. I don't often.
Oh my God, you have no idea how angry it makes me.
Yeah.
That this is going on and that these people are being treated this way. 70 AD happened, and they rejected Jesus Christ as their Lord and King, and his judgment was on them, and he said, and none of that's going to get reversed until they repent of their ways. And then they got dispersed all over the place. The temple that had all of the information about their genealogy was destroyed. Nobody can say where their lineage is. And Jesus said, Paul said, going into genealogies, endless genealogies, was a waste of time. And these people are banking on a genealogy that they cannot even prove. And they're using that as a basis to murder these people in cold blood. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And children even.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like...
And then take a verse that, like, I can't tell you how many times I think of Genesis 3 and, like, how that was, like, for Eve when after everything that happened in the garden, like she fucked up, man. Like, I get it, she was deceived, but that day had to have been such a horrible day for her because she was being celebrated, like, she was in the garden, like, everything was good. She was walking with Jesus in the cool of the day, like, things were great. And then she ate from that tree, and it said that she was deceived. That means she didn't have malice aforethought. She wasn't like, you know what? Fuck what God says. I'm gonna do what I want. Like, she got deceived. She went into that situation. She gave some to her husband. And then, like, when God comes to pass that out, and he's going to talk to them, the first thing that Adam does is say, well, it was her fault. And all this stuff is going on. But then in the middle of that, when she understands that from then forward, she was going to have pain in childbearing, from that point forward, God specifically tells her that from her womb was going to come someone that was going to crush the head of the serpent. Because remember, the one that deceived her was the serpent. And it wasn't this slithering snake situation. Like, we're talking like this powerful being, this powerful angel that if you saw it, you would be in fear for your life. Like, and the wisdom that these beings had and everything, like, she got deceived, man. And in that situation, God tells her that from her womb was going to come one that was going to crush the head of the serpent. That is Jesus Christ. That is not one group of people that is crushing the head of another group of people. What in the world? That made me, oh my word. Like, wow, unbelievable. The way that this... After I saw that interview and I realized, like, how much they really believe they're better than the rest of us, like, and now you're going to take a verse that's about Jesus and you're going to apply it to yourself and about the way that you're treating these people.
Remember, that verse is not exclusively about Jesus.
It's not about the Israeli people crushing the Palestinian people. That is not what was being prophesied in Genesis 3.
Well, no, but it does talk about essentially a spiritual conflict between God's people and the people who are not God's people. And that does get played out in the Old Testament. Christ obviously is the ultimate fulfillment of that. My point is just to simply say, I talk about Islam, but like, it's not the Muslims right now that are wrecking shop. It's our folks who are wrecking shop. And our folks in the sense that they're coming from our Bible. These people are not quoting Quran. And look, I know that these people who are saying these are Amalekites and all that, I know that they don't care about. I mean, they'll give their women free abortions. Like, you've got free infinite abortions over there. So I know that they don't care about what the biblical text says. It's just that they know that we do. They know American evangelicals do. So they're providing justification for American evangelicals to continue to support their genocidal, ideation.
And I just...
And so, like, I get the outrage, but the fact of the matter is they're smart to do that because
it's working.
They know how to communicate to evangelicals.
Unbelievable.
So it's one of those things where you just have to I don't believe that because people are misusing the Bible that casts any aspersions on God and the Bible. So I don't have a problem saying, hey, these people are misusing, the scripture. Like, I don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it goes. So, everybody can do it, and the Bible is no different. You know what I'm saying?
Every time I am scrolling and I see another picture of one of these kids or whatever, like,
it's tough.
And the thing is, I can't see that kid without also seeing my evangelical friends. I don't even know if I can call them that, to be honest with you, in support of what's going on over there.
Well, I think a lot of them don't know what's going on over there. Or a lot of them get their information filtered through. I mean, how does your mom know how to get to Telegram? You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know what Telegram is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the information is being curated to them, and I'm glad because it's horrible to look at. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these people, like, I don't want them to know all the ins and outs of this shit because it's too much for anybody to see. It's too much for me to see.
Okay, fine. Be that as it may, if you are hearing, which they are, you don't say stuff like war is war or things like, well, you know what? That's literally the line that just keeps getting rephrased. Well, that's war. You know, they're like, sorry, that's war. You know, that's what happens when war happens. Really? That's what you'd say if it was your mom getting blown up over there? I don't think so. But because it's somebody else's family, you're okay with it? That poor woman had a fucking sign that had so many names on it that was all of her family that had been destroyed in this. How can you be so cold?
They don't care. What do you mean? How many times have I been talking on this channel about the pine nut farmers? Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
My kid stepped on a piece of glass, cut his foot. So because he cut his foot, he's walking like weirdly because he's trying to protect that little spot. And because he's walking weirdly, he got a little stub toe. When I saw that tiny little bit of blood coming out of his toe, I felt so sick and sad about it. And like, he's gonna be fine. Give it tomorrow. He's gonna sleep it off. You know what I mean? Like,
He didn't care.
No, he just went on playing. But like, these people are so cold.
What do you mean? But as I said, we've been doing it to these people in Afghanistan. I've
But
been talking about
we're
that shit for years.
Christians. We're saying that people are made in the image and likeness of God, and you're saying we could just dispense with these people because war is war?
Yeah, but I mean, all due respect, I mean, you were there too. I didn't see you cry for the pine nut farmers either.
No, I didn't know about the pineapple. I mean,
You did. You did. I talked about it a million times on the channel.
Oh yeah. When you talk about it, yeah. I didn't really.
You're an American. You're an American. It's just that you're seeing now.
Yeah,
like,
but you're seeing it. That's different. Like, these people are seeing it too.
Yeah, but
it's everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, I got a lot of patience for Americans and our apathy towards other people.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen it firsthand. You know what I'm saying? And we all got to check our own hearts in the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because these people.
I mean, you're right.
If we would have reacted accurately to the pine nut farmers and all the innocent people in Afghanistan, this wouldn't have been able to happen. If we were the type of country that said, "Holy shit, we can't do this to people," then we'd be able to tell these people, "You can't do this to these people." But we don't have any moral high ground to say that because we know that our president ran out of bombs. There was no outcry. Nobody cared. So we don't have any moral grounding at all to tell anybody like, oh, this is horrible, blah. We can't. I mean, we should, but we don't have any right to do that.
No, I'll say part of the reason why I'm as outraged as I am now is because I did not give those other situations the due respect or attention or whatever that I should have. And so I think that now, like, I'm seeing this situation, and I don't want to make that same mistake twice.
Yeah, that's
good. I'm seeing it. It's in my face now, and you can't not see it. Like, before, I mean, I really haven't, I'm not really, like, a social media, junkie or anything. So, like... Yeah,
but you shouldn't have had to see dismembered bodies
I get
to know.
I agree.
There was a wedding party that got vaporized. I talked about that. I talked about the guy having to find the arm of his wife and the henna tattoo and all that. And we were like, oh, that's bad. And then we went on with our day, man. So now it's like, okay, now this shit is in your face. Maybe we'll learn. Maybe we won't. But when I see Americans apathetic to the Palestinian children, I go, well, of course. We've been apathetic the entire time. Like, we're bloody, hard people, man. So, like, now I see a lot of people going, what the fuck is going on? And that's good. That's great. But I'm not, I can't judge. I'm an American, man, and this is what we do, and I'm gonna identify with my people for better or for worse. You guys know that. You know what I'm saying? So I can't put myself above anybody in America, man. That's why I've always say, like, we're cold, we're brutal people, man. And as long as we're safe and our kids are safe, most of us are good. We're not gonna upset the apple cart. So, I'm glad that we're feeling it now, but maybe we can learn the lesson, like. We can't just start with the Palestinians. Them Israelis don't even have the capacity to kill those Palestinians at the rate that we were killing those Afghan kids. They don't even have the power to do so. They're getting the shit from us. We're not getting it from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, look.
Wait, what?
The Israelis don't have the capacity for killing. Like, nobody has the capacity for killing.
Like us when we ran out of bombs.
Yeah. And we're not planning on living there and taking over that area.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh
so
my
they have
God.
to actually show a lot more restraint than we showed in Afghanistan. So
Oh my God.
we don't now get to plant all these seeds of killing civilians and babies. And now that the trees have started to grow up, now we want to say, hey, you guys, we can't do that, man. We co-signed this shit. We elected these people. Barack Obama has never, there was not even a hint of like, we need to impeach this
But
guy.
what can we do now?
Well, I mean, we're doing. I'm just talking about our hard attitude. I'm not gonna judge Americans as particularly horrible for this situation when we've been doing this shit for the last 20 years in the GY, man. We need them people didn't do nothing to us. Look at what we did in Iraq. We completely, not only did we kill all them people, we destabilized the region, man. Now they got, you had ISIS and all this other shit, and there's going to be another group that's going to show up in another 5 years and all the rest of it. We fucked a lot of people up, man. You got to understand that if you're an American. Now that for whatever reason, people are out here, caring about the Palestinians, and that's great, but there's been a lot of people sounding this horn for a long time. And, if you're a Christian, I'm not saying we can't judge them in the sense of saying, like, this is horrible, but we have to understand that we are complicit in this. Our apathy, our unwillingness to shake up the apple cart with our friends, our unwillingness to talk about, like Kel says, or Middle Earth talks about the wedding party that got vaporized. We don't talk about this shit. And when we do, we just didn't care. We just didn't care. So now these people are doing it. They're learning from us, man. It's going to be very hard to rhetorically, cast any sort of judgment on these people when we have been complicit with this stuff. And on top of that, evangelicals in particular have a particular sort of like affinity for Israel. And so, again, that we got to take responsibility for that. We can't, in our mindset, these people are unbelievers anyway.
Well, I think the other issue that I have with it is that from my understanding of the Jewish nation or the Jewish people was I just like had so much sympathy and I felt so bad for them. Like these people are dispersed all over the place. Like I didn't understand what was going on. And then I think that when I came into an understanding of what was going on, that I thought that they were like, it was always presented like, oh, these are just like a small nation and God is protecting them from all sides because they should be obliterated in a second if God wasn't protecting them. And I didn't understand they were being the bully of the Palestinian people. Is that how long they've been being like that? Is this been a while or?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, well, that's not how it was presented.
Yeah, but again, like.
And that's still what's going on because they're saying Hamas is coming in and bullying them and they're trying to fight back.
Yeah, like.
Oh my gosh.
If you're an American, there's no excuse, man. And again, like, why are we talking about it now when our country just disassembled 1 million people? You know what I'm saying? Like, and on top, and not even talking about the other forms of death that happen once you destabilize a region, like what we did with, Saddam was horrible, but we created a power gap that, these people are gonna fill up, man. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, I like the song because it was a very good confluence of spirituality with the really dark parts of human nature, especially as it comes, when it comes to warfare and killing people
That's
wholesale.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And like Kel is saying, like it's been going on for a while, sadly. And look, I believe in a positive future, and I think. Like these discussions where we all kind of, where you got one guy saying, yeah, remember the wedding party we did that? And you got Kellen Johnson, we got Neil. You don't necessarily have to be a Christian. Like all of us are looking at this situation together.
What did decide to be a Christian? What'd you say?
I said, you don't necessarily have to be a Christian. We're all looking at the situation together and being like, yo, like we don't want this to continue. Mm-hmm. Like, especially in our community, nobody wants it to continue. Mm-hmm. And so like having these conversations is part of the way that we do it because we're all influencing each other. You know what I'm saying?
I think that sometimes it's fear-based also. Like, you're fearful, so you're like, well, we can't protect everybody, so let's just protect ours. Right. And then you have to define ours by what? Okay, so it's the people in your household. Well, it could be the people in your race, and so it's our race against their race. It's our world against their world. Instead of realizing, like, we should all be on the same team. Like, it's us against
especially
whatever else is out there.
Especially if you're a Christian.
That's what I'm saying.
Night.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Christians taking part in a land battle, and people are dying left and right, and like our Christian brothers are getting waxed over there. You know, like we got, you got Christians over there, and then you got, I mean, hey. But anyway, there's always hope because, like, I'm seeing our community, we don't got people going, yeah, fuck those people. Like, I think all of us are kind of like, you're all, evangelicals are always going to love Israel, and I think that's a good thing because, especially after, this performance, like, those people need people that are going to, like, love them unconditionally because the whole damn world will turn against them. Whether or not they deserve it is immaterial.
I see what you're saying.
To the fact that at the end of the day, if God loves people unconditionally, then that means he still loves them folks unconditionally. So, like, what I try to do is, like, dwell on the evil in myself and how, and it helps me have, like, a camaraderie with people I hate. Because I hate those people right now. But at the same time, it's like, yo, look at your own heart. You know what I'm saying? And when I look at my own heart and I see a lot of people, like, they're mad at they're mad at the original sin stuff. Like, that's one of the things that keeps me kind of balanced in this situation. And I know I'm not balanced in this situation. Like, everybody knows where I stand with all this shit. But it does make me say to myself, chill out, bro. If you were in their situation with their powers and no accountability, we've seen what you'll do. Like, I've seen what I'll do if I get, you know what I'm saying? So it helps me say, like, yeah, if it weren't for the grace of God, then I would be doing the same shit to the people. And on top of that, we've done that shit to people. So it's easy to look at them and say, oh, you guys are horrible or whatever. But, like, that's a mirror. Those Israelis are a mirror, and they're our little brother. They learn all that shit from us, man. It is what it is.
Damn.
So unless we all have to
what you're
repent
saying.
as a nation before we tell other people to repent. I mean, it's like that drug commercial back in the day, and the dad's like, "Where'd you get all this drugs?" And the kid's like, "It's yours, Dad." Like, it's like, "Where'd you get that bomb?"
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
9.3. Pretty long review. Sorry.
9.4.
But shout out to all the shout out to everybody in the world, man. I know that there's some Jewish family in a kibbutz somewhere in Israel, like, crying their eyes out and praying for their Palestinian cousins. I know that not all Jewish people believe in this bullshit that's happening. I know that. So, there are evil people at the top levels of power in that country, just like every other country. But I've yet to be convinced that all of those people feel that way. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Right.
Okay, what'd you give it?
I gave it a 9.4, and you give it a 9.3.
Yep. I hope that this band gets more spins. Middle Earth, that little opening dialogue was not put in the lyrical part. Do you know what she was saying?
Oh, yeah.
At the very, very beginning?
Yeah, when she was talking like that was so good.
Yeah, because there was so much conviction and strength in that voice.
Yeah.
So if you know what she said, let me know. But yeah, that's crazy. All right, guys. Sorry for the long review. We'll be back on the other side of the break. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of a
Alliance stream.
Alliance. Gang.
XU is up next with, I really... BWMSRTCOO. I don't even know.
Bands whose musical style reflects their country of origin.
I was just about to see it.
It's literally right there.
Why did you have to read it and look at me like I was a moron?
No, because, I didn't. You just said, like, I didn't know how this, whatever.
Well,
so I'm like,
to see it.
BWMTSRCTCCOO. Oh. And then, like, right after that, it says, bands whose musical style reflects their country of origin.
Sometimes I wish I was a queen. Silence! All right, the winner was Cobalt. Jin. Let's see. Kellendross here. Kellendross. This is one.
Why is it that Kel? Who's the other one? And our chair. Why are you guys always winning these polls? I feel like there's some
something's been rigged.
There needs to be a January 6th what do they call those things? Investigation.
Recount.
Hey.
That's okay.
Middle.
Season 3 is on its way.
Middle. I need an investigation. How come these two people are winning all the time? This is like the greatest streak of luck I've seen in my entire life. I swear to God.
Wait a minute.
I swear to God. That was okay.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
Demand a recount. They're finding more votes. Yeah. Exactly. I'm not going to say who, but there was this particular individual that we heard a phone call where he said, you got to find me more votes. You got to find me. I'm sure you can find those votes. Dude's like, I don't think it works like that, bro.
Yeah,
he's like, I'll find them.
There, Neil. Alliance leader votes count as 2. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone. Yeah, well, they must not know. Because nobody seems to be like, hey, your shirt is glowing, though. That's
I know.
pretty awesome.
I know.
It looks radioactive.
It's like matching that, like the depths of your red.
All right,
okay,
guys. Let's go.
Kellendross here. This one was my pick.
This is Kellendross's pick here.
He says that it's been long overdue.
Long overdue. Yeah, to the next Alliance stream that we have.
Damon Sage. Oh, shout out to him. Is actually who introduced me to this band, similar to Wayfarer in that they are infused.
Okay, Archero is saying the honest answer is basically you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Kel and I both participate in most polls. So there you go. If you're on Patreon, you need to be active and participate in these polls. Participate.
All right. Similar to Wayfarer in that they are infusing their brand of extreme metal with elements of American, particularly folk bluegrass music. It's more subtle than what Wayfarer brings to the table, and Cobalt's style is much more of a mix of sludge, black metal, doom, and death, with small doses of that American folk along with hardcore. This of song narrowly won. It narrowly won.
Oh, it narrowly won, did it? Narrowly.
Our ridiculously named BWMSRTCOO poll. This song, Jin, is off their third full-length album named Jin. It would be the last album to feature second founding member Phil McSorley on vocals. The other constant of this band being the founding member Eric Wonder. He started this two-piece band in 2003. He plays all instruments and is the principal songwriter. Cobalt is from Colorado.
By one vote, he beat Darkestrah. So we could have had back-to-back Darkestrah songs. And Kel beat it by one vote. Look what
you said it was long.
Votes came in mysteriously at the last minute. Hey, I will tell you this, okay? Me and Sori went to bed. Trump was up by like 11 percentage points, my guy. I woke up. I had 58 messages on my phone. It was like, you won't believe this, Vin. Turn on your TV. I turn on the TV. It was Joe. You know, shout out to the president. I don't know. A lot of votes came in at the last second. Okay, a lot of votes came in at the last second. All right, here we go. Let's go. What's the name of the song? Gin. Gin is the name of the song. All right, let me turn off this background music real quick because Kel does choose like really good songs though. See what I'm saying? Like a lot of the shit that's in my phone
is from
Kel draws. So can't really be
too upset about it.
You can't be too upset.
The village is a sham democracy.
It's not our problem. I mean, it's their problem.
Right.
We should be paying more attention.
Right.
Cobalt Gin, here we go.
I love the sound of the guitar like that.
Epic. Love riffs like that. God.
I love it when Jaws do that.
Worth
Wow.
noting that the lyricist is an Army staff sergeant, and quite a few of their songs hint at struggles with PTSD. Well, if he's a staff sergeant, that means he's lost people.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So we almost didn't talk about the music at all in the last song because the lyrics were so like compact and deep.
Mhm.
This guy is what I call a riffmeister. Like this guy, he's just out there producing riffs, and they're all good. That's very, very hard to do, especially like most of us. Like if you get one really good riff, we're like,
Mhm.
you'll most of us are like happy with that. Like if you get a really good like sequence, you're like, cool, all right, cool. And especially me, I'm like, we're gonna make that the centerpiece of the song. This guy's got like 4 or 5 of them,
Mhm.
and they're all good. They all work. They all blend. Like the guitarist is just mega, mega talented. That is a talent to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Like, I think it's one of the, you could say, weaknesses or strengths of nu metal. Was nu metal, you had these 3-minute songs,
Mhm.
and so you could do that. You could just take one riff, and then like have a main riff, and then cut it in half. Basically, everybody knows what I'm talking about, and then you just accentuate it at the breakdown, and then you're out of the song because everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so you had 3 minutes to do that with. So you only really needed one riff. I mean, Korn like basically mastered that game. But man,
I
this
like
guy.
the drumming when they do that at the end. The like something like that.
The
Like
bass.
yeah. Wait, no, the drumming.
That's
I
the
love
bass
it.
drum.
What?
There's a thing called the bass drum.
Okay.
So when you hear the deep, he's hitting the bass drum. But go ahead.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I picture the bass like instrument. Anyway, yeah. I always like to me it's like ASMR. It has like that sort of like like I just love the way that it sounds.
Yeah.
This song was crazy because you had if you had
according to
the instruments aside from the vocals, you'd feel one way about the songs, and then the vocal style that gave you like another feel for the song, and they were like just stacked like that. What's this?
The Beatles
obviously.
invented riffs. Obviously, we all know that.
Yeah.
The Beatles invented riffs. So there's that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yep. Okay. There's blood in the air tonight. This song was kind of, I'm not really sure I understood what was going on. Some of it sounded pretty weird.
Yeah, like we're always trying to like harmonize these things and come out with like a some sort of coherent narrative in these lyrics. And 90% of the songs are like that, but not all of them are. I'm very curious to see what happens with the lyrics in this song. Go ahead.
There's blood in the air tonight. Mammoth crawls under the ice, too slow to be measured in time. Suicide painted on his eyes. Okay, and then it just started getting really weird. I want animal skins. I want a house made out of it. How much I want to crawl back inside my mother. I want a house made out of her. I want to wear the blood of my father. I don't understand. What do we...
Well...
Like, I just get, like, really literal with it, and it was, like, just a really bizarre and...
Well, for me, I thought of a sniper. So a mammoth crawls under the ice too slow to be measured in time.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you'll get snipers that'll move like an inch in a day. I forgot, there was this one dude in Vietnam. They sent him to kill somebody in Laos.
Uh-huh.
And he would move like 1 inch every 4 days or something like that. It was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so if you look, the mammoth crawls under the ice too slow to be measured in time.
Uh-huh.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Suicide painted on his eyes. I want animal skins. I want a house made out of it. So he says there's blood in the air, and the mammoth is going in some sort of predatory fashion. He's doing it slow and methodically, too slow to be measured, but he's doing it slow and methodically. And he's saying, I want animal skills. I want a house made out of it. To me, it's just about, wanting that kill. See what I'm saying? Then he says, how much I want to...
Because, like, if you just hear the beginning part of it, you know, like, there's that woolly mammoth that was, like, in the ice. I mean, then, like, they, I guess, unearthed it or whatever, and then there was, like, buttercups or something still in its belly because it was frozen so fast.
A lot of those, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, there's blood in the air tonight. Mammoth crawls under the ice too slow to be measured in time. It's just a weird, like, flipping what actually happened, because actually what happened is things happened so fast that it got covered in ice and it was there. But instead you're like, it slipped underneath the ice, like it crawled under the ice, which you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? Like,
well, mammoths can do that.
Crawl under the ice?
Yeah.
What do you mean crawl?
That's what they would do. Go, because you go under the water, there'd be ice caps, and they would climb on the water, and you go up and hunt there, whatever.
I actually thought that mammoths were only in warm areas until there was the flash frozen situation. Okay. What? It would swim under the water and hold its breath and go under an ice cap? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
We got animals that do that to this day. But I think he's using the mammoth as a way to talk about, like, but you know me, I'm always gonna go there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he might just be talking about the mammoth. But when he says too slow to be measured in time, and then he said suicide painted on his eyes, that again kind of gave, because it's kind of like if you're a sniper, you're out there by yourself.
Okay.
Well, you're not really out there by yourself. You're out there with you and a spotter usually, but you're usually in a lot of danger, like real danger. So that's so suicide paint on his eyes. I want animal skins. I want a house made out of it. And then he goes, I'm like, okay, I'm following all that. I'm tracking with all that. Then he says, how much I want to crawl back inside my mother. I want a house made out of her. That's interesting, because if you look above, he wants animal skins. He wants a house made out of it. Oh, the only way to get the animal skin is to kill the animal and then wear the animal, right? So that's a predatory side of what he's doing. But then he says he wants to crawl back inside of his mother. He wants to make a house out of her. And I think that's a side of him that wishes that he didn't take part in killing anyone. Because it's a form, because that's what Nicodemus says to Jesus. Jesus says you have to be born again. And then Nicodemus says, how can I go back into my mother when I've already been born? And Jesus says, what? Obviously, I was talking metaphorically, you idiot. Like, literally, it basically says that. So it's like, the first part is like this hunting, predatory sort of thing. Like, I'm moving slowly, but I'm going to get my prey, and I want to inhabit the house of my prey.
Well, what do you make of the dad line?
But the other side, he says he wants to crawl back inside of his mother. He wants a house made out of her. And that goes all the way back to, obviously when he was an infant, a baby, a fetus, whatever you want to say. And, he was safe, but everybody was safe for him. He doesn't have to stalk anybody. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
That
well,
sounds
what about
like
the line about his dad?
That sounds like a desire. Hold on. Arturo says that sounds like a desire for protection.
Yeah, and Neil said, maybe you wish he was never born.
Maybe you wish to have never been born. Yeah, I just think it's, I think it's all of those. I think if you've crossed that line and done those things, like, I've heard that a lot. Like you're trying to get back to the point of innocence, really.
Damn. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And with Archer, I think he's fighting himself the warrior urge, but also the desire to be safe and protected, which are definitely sometimes at odds. Yeah, and I think the deeper thing from what I've heard from people, is the innocence aspect of it.
Mhm.
Is that in the first one,
Yep.
you are, and it's interesting because in the garden, it says that they made their loincloths were made out of leaves.
Yeah.
And then it says Yahweh, when he's about to send them out of the garden, actually makes animals of skin to clothe them in.
Mhm.
So that is very, very interesting because there are biblical allusions here. I think this one, I want to crawl back inside my mother, could be a John 3 type of allusion. But definitely here, when he says a strong will inherit the earth, is obviously a biblical allusion. It's turning the meek shall inherit the earth on its head. So the guy is thinking biblically, at least at that level. I just think that when he says suicide is painted on his eyes, that to me, that's kind of like the sniper culture. And in order to get those animal skins, you have to kill those animals. And then you want a house made out of it. That becomes your protection. So like when you're out in the field, whatever field you're in, your ability to kill and kill efficiently becomes your safety, becomes your protection.
But
So
why
he
wear
says,
the blood of my father?
I'm just trying to get in, just trying to like deal with this first. We'll get to the blood of the
I'm
father.
so curious about the
We'll
blood
get to the
of
blood of the
Sorry,
father.
apologies. Go ahead.
So when he's saying he wants animal skins, a house made out of it, it's because his job is to kill. And so in order to do that, like your best protection, especially as a sniper, is your efficiency in killing and your ability to stay undetectable. But then he says, how much I want to crawl back inside my mother, I want a house made out of her, because that represents your time of innocence, and it represents a time when you were protected and you were not even conscious of anyone trying to harm you. See, that's a big thing. It's like, it's not just the act of killing or whatever, but it's also the consciousness of the fact that people want to kill you and you want to kill other people in itself is traumatic. Like most people, especially in America, like don't know what that's like. And I hope people never know what that's like. But even the thought of that killing is trauma itself. If you believe that people are really coming for you or that you're really going to have to come for people, it's a horrible existence. And so crawling back inside of your mother, you get the safety, you get the protection, but you also get the innocence that you lost, because you can never go back there after that. Like you can repent or whatever, but you can't unknow that horrible fact that there's people in the world that want to kill you, and there are circumstances in which you will actually kill somebody. It's a horrifying fact. Especially most people in the modern developed world don't want to face that reality about themselves. And it's not most people, if you put them in, there are certain people that will not kill for any situation. Like I know that for a fact. I've seen it firsthand. Like that guy's not a killer, man. And there are people like that. But most people, you put them in the right kind of circumstance, they will do it. And they'll do it a lot quick. There's people that surprise themselves on both sides. There's some people that are like, yo, I thought I was, some stone cold killer, blah, 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 but I couldn't do anything. And the other people, you're like, yo, this guy, and the guy's like, loves the shit, So that's why, like, I'm not trying to like jump too much, because it's that first verse is very, very powerful. And the way that he talked about it, to go from wanting to be housed by animal skins from the people that you've hunted, or the animals that you've hunted and killed, and using that as protection over and against being with your mother, and she represents, and notice like the mother is being contrasted with the father. He wants to wear the blood of his father. He wants to be inside of his mother and be housed by his mother, but his dad, he wants his blood all the way down into the hotel basement, stuffing her mouth with my fingers. This is why we're in love. This is what I need to show you. So this right here is, he's no longer thinking about being out in the wild or whatever. Now the scene switches from that to being in the hotel. Now he says, I want to wear the blood of my father all the way down into the hotel basement. I think what he's saying is that he's saying, stuffing her mouth with my fingers. This is why we're in love. This is what I need to show you. I don't think that that's a very healthy relationship that they're in. And I think that he's blaming his father for that. He's saying, I inherited these horrible traits from my dad. He says, "I want to wear the blood of my father." All the way down into the whole hotel basement, suffering him off with the fingers. This is why we're in love. And this is what I needed to show you. Then he talks about Hemingway saving him. And Hemingway was known for being like very lecherous and addicted to all types of drugs and whatever. He's a brilliant author, though. Ernest Hemingway, I think, was. Brilliant author, but he was also like super fucked up. So I think when he says, "How I want to wear the blood of my father," that is blood generally. Blood is inside of you. That's what's inside of you. So the word outside of you is to say, hey, this is not me. This is my dad. I inherited this from my dad. It's not me. It's my dad. So he wants to externalize that. And that's why he gives explanatory power. This is why we're in love. I think he's blaming his father for his bad traits. His mother represents peace and safety and innocence and all this. But his father represents the grimy hotel basement, nasty life. You're with a girl, but you're stuffing her mouth with his fingers, which can be romantic, I guess, but it doesn't really look romantic in this context at all. It looks like he doesn't know how to relate very well to this woman.
This is why we're in love. What this?
Well, the only thing he could be previously talking about would be his dad. If you took out the first two lines, "I want to wear the blood of my father. This is why we're in love. This is what I needed to show you." See what I'm saying? So he's describing the hotel basement and all this because the previous one was like this nature scene. You're in a nature scene. It's almost prehistoric. There's this mammoth. He's gliding under the ice, blah, blah, blah. And he's like metaphorically talking about, in my view, killing and all that stuff. Then he brings it down into a very grimy, almost into the present. You're in a hotel basement with this girl and etc. And it appears that you don't really know what love is. And I think he's blaming his dad for that. That he wants to wear the blood of his father. He wants to show that this isn't me. This came from my dad. Like, I've inherited this from my father. This is why. This song was inspired by The Doors' The End. I've read that Hemingway Save Me is some kind of code common for military suicide. I tried to find some confirmation of this, but I couldn't find anything concrete.
Luminous Night, I was literally just thinking, I wonder if Vin is like really giving this song a lot more props than it really should have.
There is a logos to it, though. What he's saying makes a lot of sense. He's saying Hemingway saved me. I've heard people use that phraseology for
Hemingway saved
not wanting to be around anymore. But,
Hemingway specifically?
Yeah. Hemingway get me really fucked up. Like, this guy is going between like very like ethereal, like, oh, there's a mammoth out in the wild, in the prehistoric
like, I'm stuffing
wild,
my fingers in her mouth.
to I'm in a hotel basement. Oh, Hemingway, hey, get me really fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he goes between these poetic moments and these very real world, like, grimy, dirt under the fingernails moments. Together we chose not to believe. You are my strung out queen. You're too sad to come with me. Coat your tongue with another lie about me. So he's in this relationship with this girl, and it's one of those relationships that are doomed from the start, that are going to be unhealthy. We saw this all the time. You see people down there in Lewiston and they be together and like, yo, this is not a healthy relationship, bro. You know, there's a lot of, but I mean, there is a genuine affection that they have for each other. It's that, like, when you're in the street and you're grinding, like, there's a genuine affection they have for each other, but there's also a very toxic sort of like,
yeah.
You had a horrible upbringing. She had a horrible upbringing. She doesn't understand what the point of relationships are. Neither do you. Together we chose not to believe. You're my strung out queen. You're too sad to come with me. Coat your tongue with another lie about me. And that's kind of what happens. Like, sometimes the females, like, they will lie to themselves about the dude that they're with to keep justifying going along with the dude, even though they know the dude is not healthy for them.
Yeah.
So, coat your tongue with another lie about me. There's also maybe an LSD reference there, because, you take the LSD under your tongue and whatever, and you get all these psychedelic experiences or whatnot.
You're too sad to come with me? What does that mean, you think?
Well, I take that one just literally. Together we chose not to believe. You're my strung out tweet. You're too sad to come with me. I think that's just she's strung out. She's depressed because their relationship is not working, obviously, or the relationship is not doing what she wants it to do. And so because of that, she's basically confined to wherever she is because she's too sad and depressed to go out in life because she knows that this is not going to end well. So go ahead. It looks like you had something to say about that.
No.
No?
I'm not gonna
Okay.
say anything about it.
And Coat, you're talking, your brother betrays you, your friend kills you, your woman is dead, the strong will inherit the earth. And then he says, I drink my gin, and then he goes off, and that's how he ends the song. Really, the scripture says the meek will inherit the earth. But a lot of dudes, especially in military context, take meekness as weakness. And so he's looking at it like, nah, all that philosophical Jesus-y mumbo jumbo. At the end of the day, it's the strong who inherit the earth. It's the hunters. Like at the beginning of the song, you have a mammoth, right?
Yeah.
And he's going out there, he's going to wreck shop. So it's a strong, in his mind, it's a strong that inherits the earth because he's talking about the mammoth at the time was an apex predator. And so, but if you look down, he says, okay, what do you have at the end? Your brother betrays you, your friend kills you, your woman is dead, the strong inherit the earth. So he's looking at this as weakness. If you weren't weak, then your brother wouldn't have betrayed you. You shouldn't have trusted that guy. See what I'm saying? It's like, yo, it's your brother. He's like, yeah, you should have trusted that guy. I think he's looking at all these as weakness. Your brother betrays you, you're weak. Your friend kills you, you shouldn't have trusted him. Your woman is dead, you weren't strong enough to keep her alive. She was on drugs. She was strung out on drugs. You couldn't help her. You probably discovered her dead.
Oh, he said, you're too sad to come with me, and maybe that's how she died, because you are my strung out queen, you're too sad to come with me, so he leaves her there.
Right.
And then, yeah.
Right. And for whatever reason he left, so he's blaming himself for all these things, and then he says the strong will inherit the earth. Because he had all these tragedies in life in his mind because of weakness, which is a very common, there's a specific group within what people call in the military or whatever, and suicides are extremely high, those folks. But they it was a lot of like singleton by yourself type situations, and it was difficult because if you're by yourself, you do a lot of things, you compromise your own morals to stay alive or to, so dudes have a really hard time with that. But,
Wow.
The culture, and this is just kind of just masculinity in the first place. And like, that's when like the whole toxic masculinity thing was going on. And I was supporting it just because I was like, yo, this is an opportunity to have a really good discussion about masculinity and men and what it means to be a man and all the rest of it. And it just got caught up with like anti-manism, and I understand it was a lot of it was on the heels of the whole Me Too movement, so it wasn't a really good time to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because people were really like ginned up. But I remember like, yo, this is a really good moment to have this conversation about what we consider masculinity and what versions of masculinity we could adopt. Because I never thought the toxic masculinity thing was like all against all masculinity. That's how a lot of people were interpreting it. But I was looking at it like, okay, there are some toxic traits or ideas about masculinity that if we could have a community conversation about, I think would be helpful. And even like with myself, it was something that I wanted to kind of like explore, like, yo, because there's no way that, and again, some of this has to do with original sin, right? Like, if that's true, then that means there's a way to be masculine that's toxic, necessarily, if we're all sinners, and there's a way to be masculine that is not toxic. And you don't necessarily need to be a Christian to adopt a non-toxic understanding of masculinity. And so I thought that was a really cool, moment for us that we missed because there was just too much political shit happening at the time. But your brother betrays you. The implication is you were too weak to see it. Your friend kills you. You were too weak to see it. Your woman is dead. You weren't strong enough to keep her alive. And like everybody I know that's lost somebody in the field, like that's how they feel. Not necessarily that your friend kills you, but it's more of like your friend got killed. And there's a sense in which, I mean, I've said that a million times. Like, oh man, you killed me. Like you broke my heart. You killed me. Whatever. And then at the end of the day, like, he's looking at these vast ideas. The meek shall inherit the earth. The strong will inherit the earth. And the very next thing is I drink my gin. So like This guy goes between like,
Yeah.
ooh, wow, woolly mammoth to the bottom of a basement somewhere. Like, ooh, like, oh man, the meek will inherit the earth. To I'm gonna drink my gin. Like, it's this guy like lyrically, this was I definitely see a logos like a logic behind everything that he's saying, but it seems like it's encoded in a lot of like, it's like he wants to say something, but he's not coming out and saying it exactly. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that this dude was a staff sergeant in the military. I just immediately, there's a couple things that he said at that first stanza that made me immediately go, oh, sniper, this is sniper. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's crazy to see that he had yeah, esoteric is a word, Archero. That's a better word. It's crazy that he was a staff sergeant in the military. Because I immediately went to sniper with the mammoth thing. But yeah, it was lyrically a very dense song. This is another band I'm like, yo, I hope somebody else. Because if this is this guy's writing style, like, I would love to like sit for like a couple days in this dude's writing style. Because I like that methodology where you're bringing in something esoteric and then you bring it right back into the gutter. Mm-hmm. Like, I love that shit because like that's where I live. Like I live in that. Like, we'll be in the gutter somewhere with folks, and there's all the, you know me, like there's all this like, oh, look what's happening here, and you know the hey, what does this have to do about punctuated equilibrium, blah blah blah. And then like you're in the gutter and there's dirt underneath your fingernails. Like, I love that shit. Mm-hmm. I love the way he's able to go back and forth between those worlds, because usually you find people that are one side or the other. Mm-hmm. You don't find people that combine both of them, and it seems like he was purposely doing that. That's crazy. I don't think I've seen that purposely done in a lyric from start to finish. And that takes a lot of trust in your audience. Like, sometimes like I'll write stuff, I don't know if it's arrogance, but I'll be like, yeah, nobody's gonna get that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think that I really, really respect this guy to have that kind of like trust in his audience that people are gonna get that, because that's a lot of trust. I'm trying to figure out, I want to hold your hand by the Beatles. Can you help me?
All right, I'm going to give this one, I did like the vocal style in that it sounded like it was like really struggling. Yeah. So I'd give this one a solid 9. Solid 9 for me.
Yeah, this one's getting a 9.8 from me, and I'm not going to really explain why, but it hit me. Yeah, it hit me pretty, it was an unguarded, yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Man, that I'm very, very interested in this band, what this dude can do, like, lyrically.
I do Kellendraws.
Huh? What?
Kellendraws. Sori does, like, the tortured vocals. I 100% do.
Sori likes when people are tortured. She likes to torture people.
I like the tortured people.
Yeah.
No, I like that what you sometimes feel inside, it matches that. Like I understand that vocal style. There's a part of my soul that matches it. And I like that. I'm like that's it.
Yeah, it seems like
relatable.
It seems like people were not really a fan of this guy's lyrical style.
Well, I don't believe anybody would have pulled that out of there.
I just read the thing where dude was like, I think Vin is making this a deeper song than it is. I don't know, man. It looked purposeful to me. That's why I said, like, I want to see a couple more. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, fuck my friends, man. Whoever you are with double lyrics, man, you were badass. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say, bro.
I used to watch Vin, like, talk in, like, this group, and sometimes, like, people would say something, and I'd be like, saying it doesn't even make any sense, and Vin would be like, absolutely, and then like tie it all in there and like deepen what he was talking about, because this person said this one random comment when they were high off what. I'm like, how does this work?
They were participating in the Bible study. Maybe he was a little bit off somewhere, but maybe, you know, I would just find the kernel of truth and just go with it. And then he would
just go with it. I mean, there were times where I would say something and Vin would be like, oh, yeah. And then, like, he would go on this, like, I was thinking to myself, what I was saying was, like, super basic. Wasn't all that. But sure, That was what I said. Anyway.
It wasn't even like that. It wasn't even like that. It wasn't even like that.
It really was. It really was.
Neil is going to check during the commercial.
To see if that's really what it meant.
We're going to allow you guys to check in the commercial. Shout out to all the people on Rumble. Shout out to all the people on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, retweet it, bitches. You might get a free song review. We gave away 2 song reviews last month.
In May, yep.
Mm-hmm. So June is coming. If you want a free song review, all you got to do is retweet that shit, dear listener. We will see you guys on the other side of the break. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go. This is another one, almost an hour long. Holy shit.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy all merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We're in the midst of
an alliance
stream where there's voting. The votes are all done with the utmost care for accuracy.
Electronic sorting. So there's no repeated winners and everybody gets it up. Okay. ROA is up next. It's
what they say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's actually wisdom.
ROA grunge winner is Chout Thin Ice. Comment. This time we did our member Slade's theme, which was grunge genre. This genre is mostly known for its big 4, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and Pearl Jam. We wanted to represent the genre outside that group, and in our poll we had bands from the same era as the big 4 and modern bands that are reviving the genre. In our pool,
I'm really, really excited for this.
Me too. In our poll final, we had a tie, and we got 2 winners. The first one represents the modern take on the genre. Chout was formed in 2018 in Chicago. The winner song is from their debut album, Dogwater. This was OCS Trippin's pick.
All right, shout out to OCS Trippin.
Shout out.
We finally got a W for you, my man. Here we go. This is Thin Ice.
Thin Ice is the name of the song.
Did you get me the lyrics?
It's coming.
Thin Ice on the way. Let's check it out. Let's go. Oh. I'm feeling this. This is grunge?
No reason, bring me to my boiling point. I'm screaming, you know I tried to miss you. Bones freezing, cracked reflection stares at me. No
shit.
Fall through thin ice, don't think twice, yeah. No feeling, your body's losing temperature, skin's peeling, death begins to take you. No healing, trapped beneath your will is breaking. No leaving, no one's reaching out. Speaking words and acting ways, confrontations only. Now you've reached a part of me where the sun can never see to. It's been too long, you're down and out, but you try to take a redo. Suffering is what I gain, now that I can see true. You have no right living life. Fall through thin ice, don't think twice. Have you forgotten the face of your father? Can you will with another?
This riff is hard, bro. Okay,
Alright.
that was so I guess what makes grunge is the vocal, because that
Yeah.
riff
The vocals sound grungy.
was a hard rock riff that like I could see that riff being played at a Korn show. Like I could see Brian come up with a riff like that. You see what I'm saying? But like the vocal style, dude sounded like dude
Alice
from
in Chains?
yeah, Alice in Chains. Lane Staley. That was the band that we saw at the Korn show. I mean,
I
rest
know,
in
yeah.
peace. But
Yeah.
man, that other guy, like, obviously he wasn't Lane Staley, but
That was a really cool moment.
that was a crazy moment.
The energy that you felt in that at that point in the show.
I forgot which song that was.
I
but
don't
that
know
was,
which song it was either. I just know everybody was taking out their lights, and there was like some real camaraderie in that song.
Well, it was cool too because we were supposed to be backstage hanging out with the homie.
Yeah, that's right.
But we didn't do that until like Korn came on, which is good because
We
if
would've
I would have
missed that
known,
moment.
we would have missed that moment. And it was just cool, like being in the crowd because we were usually like we're on stage or like we're on the that first row, whatever. But it was cool, like being back into the crowd and like we were kind of like in the middle and like when you turned around, like you could see it was just crazy to be in it. It's also cool to see it from the stage. That happened with Korn with My Gift to You. He had the lighters out and shit. It wasn't the lighters, it was the phones. And so, like we were on stage so you could see like what the band sees. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt it just felt so much different to be in the crowd while that was happening and seeing all those lights and everybody like all thinking this, feeling the same thing. I don't know. It was just a crazy moment. I'm glad that I didn't know that we were supposed to be behind stage the entire time, because I would have completely missed it.
A lot of times when those kind of moments take off in a show, because I don't know the lyrics of a lot of the songs, I can't like be in it like everybody else is in it. But there was 2 times in the shows where I experienced those moments with everybody else, even though I was unfamiliar with what was going on. One was in that moment, and then the other one was in this moment when all the women were singing.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like we all were looking at each other like we all know what shit it's like, you know, like.
Yeah, but then them girls almost got in a fight like right in front of us.
I know, but that wasn't during that song. That was before. Almost. They really that happened twice. Yeah, in that same show.
Yeah,
one girl threw a beer in the other girl's face.
Yeah, she's gonna get busy with that girl, bro. I was like praying. I was like, please don't do that. Please don't do that to Sori. Please. Sori's literally the strongest. Like I'm talking about physically.
Oh my gosh.
Physically the strong. Like she'd be like, oh, teach me some jujitsu. Like part of the reason I don't teach you, I've never told you. Part of the reason I don't teach you is because like you really hurt somebody out here. Like you really, really hurt somebody out here.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was just like, Lord, please don't let these white girls sing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't believe that it was random. I don't think she turned around and just threw the beer in her face. I think that there was some altercation that was going on, and the thing just kept escalating because everybody was, you know, for me, it depends on the day. For me, it literally depends on the day which version of me you're going to get. You know, there's a whole version of me that I'm like, you know what, a gentle answer turns away wrath. It really does. I'm just doing that. And then there's another version of me that's like, really? Well, then fuck you. And you're going to... You know, because what'll happen in that moment actually is all the other times I let stuff go that I really didn't want to, and I didn't let it go for the sake of Jesus, but I did it because I was trying to be like a good person. All those things pile up, and then I want recompense for it.
And then that poor soul's gonna have to deal with the ramifications of your, you know.
Bitch, wear your mask.
God help these women. God help them. No reason. Bring to my boiling point. I'm screaming. You know I tried to miss you. Bones freezing. A crack reflection stares at me. No leaving. There's no escape now. Hey, this guy's rap. This is the thing. Like the previous song was really avant-garde. Like you really had to get to like level 10 to look down to see where all the connections were. This one is pretty straightforward. No reason. Bring me to my boiling point. I'm screaming. You know I tried to miss you. Bones freezing. A crack reflection stares at me. No leaving. There's no escaping now. Speaking words to talk it out is for conversations only. Now you've reached a part of me where the sun can never see to. It's been too long. You're down and out, so now you try to take me with you. Suffering is what I gain now that I can see true. So you have no right living life.
That line was...
What did Kendrick say to Drake? He said, I think niggas like you should die. He just came out and said, I think niggas like you should die. And then they went to see like that. That's where I'm like, yo, you went too far there, bro. Because then dude showed up over at Drake's house and shit. But if he really did that shit, then he should. You know what I'm saying? So fuck him. So
we don't know. So might have been too far.
But
if he did, fuck him.
Literally the worst Christian on the planet. Literally, I am the worst. You have no right living life. Fall through the thin ice. Don't think twice. No feeling. Your body's losing temperature. Skin's peeling and death begins to take you. No healing. Trapped beneath. Your will is breaking. No leaving. No one's reaching out. Speaking words and acting ways for confrontation only. Now you reach a part of me where the sun can never see
That line was relatable, I think.
What?
Speaking words and acting ways for confrontation only.
Yeah?
I mean, have you ever had times like that? Where, like, it's not even that you're, like, fighting for a cause. It's just that you just...
It's just what?
There it goes!
Just what? What happened?
There goes Rumblers!
Rumblers! What is the magic number? What is the magic number,
watching.
Rumblers?
Who's
what
getting
is the
points?
magic number?
Who's
There's a
getting
magic
points?
number if you're listening on the Rumble side. Okay, this song seems to be pretty straightforward. Up! Dwayne won!
Dwayne gets a point.
57,000. Sorry, Lost Hate. Dwayne beat you to it. Dwayne beat you to it. Okay. All right, Dwayne. That's a half point.
Oh,
That's a half point, Dwayne. if you stack up 3 points, you get a free song. You stack up one song. I forgot how many.
No,
points
you
it
said
was.
3 points gets a shirt, 5 points gets a song.
Did I say that?
Right here, 5 points gets you a song, babe.
Yeah. When you see the lights change colors, they get flashy.
Why have an ace if
Tell
you're
us
going to
the
question
magic number, and okay, all
I'm
right.
supposed to be the queen here.
All right, there
How
you go.
dare you question? Off with his head! Wait,
Off
no,
with his
keep
head.
it. I actually like it.
Yeah, see, Lost Hate had 50. He came in right
I know.
after Dwayne.
It was like literally like boom, boom.
Damn.
You gotta be faster.
This song though, this person is mad at this person. It looks like the person's
you
like
think?
but
Do you think they're related?
They used to be friends at least.
I actually thought it was like a father-son relationship.
Father-son relationship. Holy hell! Go ahead. I didn't
Just
say how you got
because he
father-son out of
said,
that one.
he said, "Have you forgotten the face of your father?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I really, to be honest with you, some of the ways that he was writing in here, I really didn't care. I didn't care about the lyrics. I liked what it sounded like. That's really what happened. And I understood that there was some beef here, and people were putting out their energy, and
Yeah, I just think that this is a pretty straightforward song about a person who's jealous of another person, and this other person, he's reached his boiling point.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, I can never tell. Like, that's why I think it's important to like have people to talk to.
Well, you can never tell what.
Well, when a person reaches their boiling point, especially me, I'm like, I'm a very, very patient person. I'll deal with a lot of shit, and then like somebody crosses a specific line, and then I go, "Hoorah!" So now I'm like, were you really that patient? Like, are you calling the lack of confrontation? You make an equivalency between the lack of confronting a person and patience, because that's not actually the same thing. It can't be a positive thing to be the kind of a person
That's an interesting way of looking at
that
it.
allows, for certain kinds of violations of your standards or whatever, and then out of nowhere you just go
Right,
crazy.
you're
on
saying,
people.
is it really patience if you're actually stacking the stuff when you're overlooking it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Because you're not really forgiving it if you're holding it still.
Yeah,
to then get the energy to.
Yeah, like, and it's like
interesting question. Ben.
It's like I don't want. It's really funny. Like, if we're talking about concepts, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, I'll argue with you till the sun comes home. Like, shit that's like not really consequential.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love arguing about, but like shit that's consequential, like in my personal relationships, I don't like those conversations. I don't like them at all. So I'd much rather like, okay, that happened. All right, cool. I'm just gonna let that go because I don't want to have that confrontation. And then it gets to the point where I'm like there, and then I say it. Then you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it happens with every significant relationship I'm in. And like people like, and we've all known people like that where we said, oh man, that guy, like, he's really, he'll deal with whatever, but then you catch him on the wrong day, that type of thing. It's like, that's probably not the most healthy way to address that situation then. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? Like, and especially like if you see that as a pattern. And people like that, like, there's always justification for the shit that they do. Because we'll say, look, man, I allowed for this, and this. So if, when I went after you, man, hey, whatever. It's like, yeah, but are you responsible? Like, this is a real-time conversation as I'm looking at these lyrics. I'm having this discussion with myself. Like, do you have any responsibility to maybe confront the person earlier about the situation so you're not in a situation where you just go crazy on somebody? And, I mean, I think part of my problem is, like, I came up a certain way, and when I used to go crazy on people, like, there was blood everywhere. I'm not saying that, like, as a good or bad or bragging or whatever. It's just that's how it was. And you were able to get away with physical shit over there in the Bronx. But, that shit doesn't prepare you to be a husband or father or a friend or a coworker or a co-belligerent, say it that way. There's a lot of shit where it's like, that doesn't work. But and then with me, there was a specific group of people that I was allowed to be around. I was blessed to be around. Should have been around them. Not qualified, but I was. And the rules of confrontation were just very basic, man. You know what I'm saying? It was just, if the person is doing their job, that was pretty much it. You left them alone. If they didn't do their job, like, then you confronted them. But when you got confronted about it and vice versa, there wasn't any like ego involved, because everybody's trying to get home. It's like, if I fuck up, somebody could like literally die. So there was none of this like defensive, oh, you hurt my feelings, oh, this is, you need to approach me. It was none of that shit. It was just, hey, what the fuck? And you say, what? And well, look. And then you'd be like, well, that didn't happen. Oh, yeah, we'll count. Well, shit, you're right. My bad. Like, simple. I'm being vague, but it doesn't matter. But the point is, like, that was a very, very small group of people. And I was with these people parallel to being with normal people. So I would bring that like into my normal people conversations, whether it was, at the time we were in the middle of this church thing, trying to get this thing going with, with our neighborhood or whatever. And so I would talk to people. So like that was going on in my life. And then I would get a call and I had to go take a trip. And then I'd be with those guys. And there was I don't want to say there was no ego, because everybody there was like, I'm the best in the world. And they were. So it was ego. We just didn't care because nobody wanted to die. When you got home, people are not thinking about shit that way. They're not thinking like, oh, and honestly, the stakes are not people could die. So when you come and you talk to people like that, they're like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? So then I kind of got this like, okay, well, I'm home. I'm just going to, I'm not going to talk about it or whatever. And then I get pushed like beyond, the point with and I just blow up on people, and then it was like, yo, what's going on with you type of situation. Like, I mean, my other friends, other group of guys, like seriously, like if there was a real, like there was that dude, and I said, yo, the next time you say that, like we're going to square up, dude. And he said it, we scored up. And then when I woke up, they were like, all right, well, all right, I'll leave you alone with that. I guess you're really serious about that. We're not gonna call you the baby anymore, whatever. And like that culture, like that was okay, and that was cool, and that was just like a Friday, and that call was like, hey, whatever. But like you can't do that, with other groups of people. Like you can't say, okay, man, the next time you say that, like we're gonna square up and we're gonna, have it out, and then everybody's just gonna go on like, no, it's not like that. People are reacting that way, and so like it's like you got this like emotional sort of like regressive behavior where I feel like I'm not as developed with those things as people normally are, but it gets manifested in like, hey, I was very, very patient with this person when I blew up on them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's shit like that, with songs like this, where I'm like, it really makes you think, because this guy is clearly at the point now where he's like, man, fuck this person, whoever he is. Like, I'm imagining you underwater, drowning, your temperature's lower, all that. Like, this person, like, it's like, man, you couldn't have had that conversation before you got to this point where you want to see this man dead? You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously, he doesn't literally want to see the person dead, but y'all know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think, like, you can always grow, and you can always, like, look at yourself and try to, think that shit through. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, I don't know if this language is hyperbolic, but Jesus said, like, pray for your enemies. And I think it sounds, probably semi-easy to just be like, oh, well, help that person, Lord, you know what I mean? But it's not really like that. It's, like when you have a genuine relationship with God, then you understand that that's like the area, my prayers are like the most genuine place where I am ever in my life. Like, because there's no hiding. Like, God already knows how I feel and how I think. So when you talk about, like, pray for your enemies, it's not like this, like, help them, or fuck them up, Lord, it's like God knows, and whether or not you're having a genuine prayer for the person. And, I remember there was this one person that, like, to be honest with you, now that I look back, it was just so minor what the situation was. I was absolutely overreacting in the situation. I wasn't considering, you know, the person and why they were doing what they were doing. But, like, the person got me really, really angry. And, you remember?
Oh, I remember.
And, I didn't practice pray for your enemies in that situation. It's actually something that I've adopted because, and taken more seriously, because if you pray for your enemies before it gets too dark, then you don't get to that dark place.
It's true.
It prevents you from getting there. And I don't really, like, you know, you probably could lay out why that is. I don't know. I just know that it does work. Because do you know why it works?
Well, I think what's like screwing me up in this conversation is that I don't get mad at my enemies because I don't expect anything from them. Because I'm
not. Yeah, when I'm
like,
saying it, I'm actually not talking about enemies. I'm just talking about anybody that I'm feeling like that.
That's what I'm saying.
When I think enemies, I'm not thinking about like enemy. I'm thinking about the people on the other side of my love that are getting that colder, hard part, the harder part of myself that is turning toward hate. Those are the people that I'm characterizing as that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's, you know, like I have more of an understanding of my enemies, and I think I relate better to my enemies than I do people that are close to my heart, because the relationship with my enemy is very simple. Like, it's, you're on that side, I'm on this side. This is going to happen. You're going to go here. This is going to happen. I'm going to go here, because we're enemies. But, man, people you love, that is very, very difficult. Mm-hmm. Because only people you love can betray you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Only people that you love can disappoint you. Like, I've never been disappointed by my enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I have, but not in a good way. Like, oh, man, that's all, you know, type of shit. Like, oh, man, I thought we were going to...
Jeez,
you know, now look at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've never been disappointed by an enemy. I've never been betrayed by an enemy. You know what I'm saying? It's always the people that you love that you're like,
yeah.
You know? So it's interesting. Like, I've never even applied to pray for your enemy, but I might start doing that with people I love, because maybe, you know, in that moment, maybe they are my enemy in that moment. I don't know. Like, I have a very specific, like, this is what an enemy is, but maybe.
Oh.
Maybe it's one of those things where Jesus is like, you're missing the point.
No,
dude.
yeah,
like,
for sure. I think you are, because I don't think most people have like a, here's your enemy, that it's that clear. You know, I think that a lot of us, sometimes I see it as like the enemy of who I want to become. Like, I'm trying to go toward a certain type of person, and because this person said this thing, like, you know what I'm talking about, but somebody said something very specific to you, and it was dark, it was horrible, it was, you know, and that was a really, 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 really difficult one for me. And like, for X amount of time, like, it went dark for me. And then I said, then I remembered, pray for your enemies, and no, this person is not my enemy. I mean, I love this person.
That's when you rolled up and say, hey, get out the car. Was it that situation? Is it
No, a much more recent, more toxic one. But I said, whoa, that's right. And then I started praying, and as soon as I started praying, like, I noticed stuff began to change for me, because I didn't want to go down that, you know, one, I don't want to be that person. Two, you know, I don't know. I think sometimes the people that you can picture, like some of the people that can, like you just said, the people that can make you feel that way are people that you actually, you care about or you love, you know? So.
I feel that though. Sunlight is my enemy.
No, not me.
Oh
my gosh.
That's.
I like get in the sun and I feel like.
You have no idea. I cannot stand.
I love the sun.
Y'all have no idea. Yeah. So I think that this song gives you a lot to think about. It's the most shallow lyrically of the 3 songs that we've done so far, and I don't mean shallow in a negative sense. It's just the other ones, like, it took you a lot of time to be able to harmonize what they were saying into a coherent whole. This one was pretty straightforward, but it still leaves me with some questions about like how to handle conflicts, and wouldn't it be better to have a bunch of smaller conversations and smaller confrontations over and against a big one? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all right. I give this one a solid 9.
Oh, 9.4 for me. I love grunge.
Sunlight
all right, you guys.
should be any white person's enemy. We got one more song coming for you, beautiful people. Shout out to I love it. Shout out to Dwayne.
SPF 50.
Dwayne, who we gotta find some. I gotta find some way to track these points and keep people's points up. But Dwayne, congratulations, you won a half point. So let's keep it going. Shout out to all the rumblers out there. Go ahead.
I could keep a board on Patreon, and I could make it public.
We will do that. We will keep a board on Patreon. We will keep it public so you won't have to, know what your points are. We'll give your points. You can cash them out. I will tell you guys, they're going to be Rumble specific for quite some time.
Okay, do this. Get in here and take a screenshot right now. I'm going to use it as the thumbnail for that thing. That looks not very exciting. These are winners. People are winning prizes.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Okay, can you do the screenshot?
Okay. Stand by, guys. This is how decisions get made. Y'all think that there's like some big smart what there isn't. It's just like, hey, just do this. And here we go. We'll do the little 5-second count. Is this enough? Is this good enough?
I mean, sure, if you like subpar. I'm just kidding.
Here
That's fine, babe. That's fine.
Here's a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, send that to me and then hit the commercial.
Commercial break. We'll be right back, dear listener. That's the magic of the movies, bitches. I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, Adidas, Chout, I'll link them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the, we've reached the end of our alliance stream for today, dear listener.
We still have one more grunge song.
Is it a grunge song?
Yep.
Okay.
Winners.
The name of this band is called The Screaming Trees.
Okay.
And the name of this song is called Winter Song. Okay? So Sori...
Dwayne gets a half a point?
Dwayne gets a half a point. I think you can finish that up after we're done.
I understand.
Yeah. Yep. You can do 0.5 point or half point, whatever. All right, so let's go back. Shout out to Mike Franco. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Screaming Trees. The name of the song. What's the name of the song?
All right. Name of the song is... Well, the band is Screaming Trees. The song is Winter Song. This is the comment For our other grunge poll winner, we had a band that is considered as one of the pioneers of the genre. Screaming Trees was formed in 1984 in Ellensburg, Washington by vocalist Mark Lanigan, guitarist Gary Lee Conner, bassist Van Conner, and drummer Mark Pickerel. They released 8 albums, and this song is from their 1992 album Sweet Oblivion. Do not take my giggling as disrespect to the names. I'm laughing at myself for my reading skills. The band announced their breakup in 2000.
Oh, lock them up!
That's obviously what I meant when I said that. I was homeschooled! Okay, Mark Lanigan passed away in 2022 and Gary Lee Conner in 2023. Oh, wow.
Ugh.
This was Slade's pick. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the first time Slade has won.
It's true. It's true. I do not remember that name.
I don't remember that name either.
I don't remember that name.
I remember them talking about him in the previous song.
Which alliance was this, though?
The Rock of Ages.
Okay.
The leader, Misery Biz.
Right. So, there you go.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
Well, the Misery Biz Alliance
just got started?
Well, no, like there's a variance of winners in that alliance. I don't think they've had the same winner like two streams in a row.
Your memory's better than mine.
So,
all right.
You know, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. But you know, hanging chads, all that stuff. You know,
that's okay. That's okay. We season 3 is gonna bring a new change.
Yes.
Actually, you guys are gonna really like this. I think we came up with it after much deliberation. And
yeah, I think folks are gonna like it.
We put our heads together.
Yeah.
And we came up with the idea.
Yeah. And I also think that folks are gonna find ways like they did before.
Well, actually, they're not gonna be able to. I'll tell you why.
Okay, we'll
after.
see. We'll see. All right, here we go.
I've been dealing with
Screaming Trees.
Sneaky children and teenagers for years.
Winter Song.
I've got so many wonderful, exciting things up my sleeve. Let's go, you guys. Screaming Trees, Winter Song.
Rock of Ages, grunge winner. Here we go.
Misery Biz is a winner. Well, leader.
Can we get the lyrics?
I sent him.
You did?
Jesus knocking on my door late last night, early this morning. Window glass rusted and weary. I went straight through. Didn't hear no warning. Just a roll of the dice and a precious prize. Bring you around, it's easier when I'm wasting my time and I'm losing my mind. Oh, my mind. Trying to wait for the sky to fall. It's kinda hard now to see it all. Whisper a song of winter in your heart.
What instrument is that?
Dead-end street, just out my back door. I heard what seemed a young girl laughing. Now raindrops fall away like souls. I wondered if she ever heard my dying. Just a roll of the dice and a precious prize. Bring you around, it's easier when I'm wasting wasting my time and I'm losing my mind. Oh, my mind. Trying to wait for the sky to fall. It's kinda hard now to see it all. Whisper a song of winter in your heart. Trying to wait for the sky to fall. It's kinda hard now to see it all. Whisper a song of winter in your heart. Jesus knocking on my door one last time early this morning.
Interesting. I'm always intrigued by people who bring up Jesus in these contexts.
Why?
Because I don't know. Maybe the default is like, I don't think people are like hostile to Jesus, but it's just very, every time I hear somebody like reference Jesus in a song
It's specific.
Huh?
It's specific. It's not like God or, it's like
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a historical figure.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me.
Um,
All right, so what was going on with you with that song? What was going on?
it had a really chill sound to it.
Yeah, it's like what Kel was saying. He was talking about like the dude's like voice is unique. Like he's got this unique yet somehow like familiar.
Yo.
You know?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I had the word familiar in my head. You just started saying it first, but it was there. We both were thinking the same thing. I mean, when he said Jesus knocking on my door late last night and early this morning, I loved that line.
Why?
Well, there's that verse that says, "I stand at the door and knock," and then there's David in the Psalms where he says that he awakens the dawn with his instruments and stuff and like singing to God or whatever, and like I do think that just like your ears can be, or like your senses can be in tune to hearing like negative shit all the time. Like I was just telling Vinny, I went, I guess I have to be a little bit vague here, but there was a very simple process that involved a quarter, and but the first time that I went to engage in this process, you know what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
First time I went to engage in this process, it was a little bit confusing. Like it should have been pretty basic, but it was a little bit confusing, and then like I got tripped up, and then I ended up losing a couple quarters because of it, like literal quarters, and but then I got it figured out. It took me a minute to figure it out. Well, when I went up to this spot, like there was a lady there. She was probably like in her late 60s or maybe early 60s. I can't really tell. And she was confused. And so I went up and I like showed her like the steps of how you're supposed to accomplish this thing. And as soon as she realized like how simple the process was, she was like, "Oh my word." She's like, "I'm such an idiot." And like when she said that, like in my head, I was like, how is this? She's 60 years old, still talking to herself like that. Like, you just didn't know. Like, this is the first time that you've done this. You just didn't know what you were doing. And also, like, the other thing that I think about is, like, if you're an idiot, then you also called me an idiot because I actually got more tripped up than she did the first time. Because I ended up losing quarters. She didn't even lose quarters. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I, like, turned to her, like, immediately, and I was like, no. I was like, don't say that about yourself. And like, I was like, you're basically, you know, like we're trying to figure these things out, you know, and like, so this, like we get ourselves so in tune to hearing like negative voices or repeating negative comments to ourselves and stuff, and like your entire world can become so negative. I do think that God speaks to us, like the scripture says, he speaks in one way and in two, though man does not perceive it. So I think that God is talking to us a lot of times, but a lot of times our spiritual ears are not in tune to hearing what he's saying. So we're missing it and we're like, where's God? What's happening? And like but you're so used to just taking in that negative and then repeating the negative to yourself. Like it's one thing to have a thought like, oh man, you're an idiot. But then to like be like, yeah, man, I'm such an idiot. And then like even to say it so much to yourself that you could say it out loud to somebody that's younger than you that you should essentially be a positive influence for. But that's like so become your reality that just comes out naturally when you just get a little confused about something that you didn't really know anything about because it's your first time. So when I heard that, like Jesus knocking at the door thing late at night and early into the morning, I'm like, I think that he does that. Like, I feel like he's knocking on a lot of our doors, like, and he's like whispering a lot of things to us and we may not necessarily hear it. So that's what I heard on that part. Then he said window glass, rusted and weary. I went straight through. And so like when he said window glass, rusted and weary, I pictured like an old window, like it's, and then like an old, the rusty hinges. But then he said, I went straight through, didn't hear no warning. Like, I don't know. Then I like literally pictured, I went from like somebody waking up because like God was knocking at their door to like friggin' somebody's going right through the glass. Although maybe that, I don't know.
I looked at that more as
Jesus was coming right through the window to him.
No, like he was drinking and driving, and Jesus was like, "Yo, don't drink and drive, bro." That's what he meant when Jesus was knocking on his door late last night, early this morning. And
a vice. It says it. Precious
then
vice.
he says window glass, rusted and weary. I went straight through, didn't hear no warning. And then the next thing is just a roll of the dice and a precious vice. You know, because like. Mm-hmm. You know, when you get behind the wheel and you're in that state of mind, bro, like, it is basically a crapshoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is basically you're depending on a lot of things have to go right.
Yeah.
For you to make it home and the other person to make it home, too.
I mean, we just saw that when we were watching Midnight Mass. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's right at the beginning of the show, but, like, to end up taking somebody else's life when you're doing foolishness like that, and then like he said in the show, like he woke up and it was done because he was so wasted when it happened. Like I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people. And
I mean, yeah, I mean, I worked with people that, you know,
what's making that noise?
They all died in a car accident on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. All young people.
Yeah, and like two of the people that died had nothing to do with it. It was another couple coming down this way. They just got married. Just one of those like, what are you doing, God, type of situations, man. That was tough. That was Dorian's first Christmas too. It was horrible. Just to roll the dice and a precious vice to bring you round, it's easier. When I'm wasting my time and I'm losing my mind, oh my mind, try to wait for the sky to fall. It's kind of hard not to see it all. Whisper a song of winter in your heart. Dead-end street just out my back door. I heard what's seen a young girl laughing. Now raindrops all fall away like souls. I wonder if she ever heard mine dying.
Wow. So
this dude is this guy's not having a good time, bro. Trying to wait for the sky to fall. Like it's like he's inviting some horrible situation to happen. Which is usually what people mean when they say the sky is falling. And he talks about being on a dead-end street, which again, doesn't necessarily mean that he's talking about driving or whatever, but the motif is kind of like, okay, we're going somewhere, and then you end up on a dead-end street. Mm-hmm. And a dead-end street is kind of it's a very interesting way to talk about disappointment, because there are signs that say this is a dead end. There's a lot of times when there isn't one, and so like you're trying to find something, you're trying to get somewhere, and so you run into you make this turn into whatever because there's some hope that across the turn somewhere you're gonna get to where you need to be or whatever. A lot of this is irrelevant now because we have GPS. Mm-hmm. But when you didn't have GPS and you were looking for some place to go, like the dead end was like such a gut punch because it was like, damn, like one, it meant that you were wrong, like you didn't know where you're going, but two, it's like there's no escape here, and it's kind of like over dramatic, like, oh, it's a dead. I mean, listen to the words we use, dead end. It's like over dramatic. Like we could have found some other term to say. We call it a dead end. You know what I'm saying? And so like that becomes very powerful as far as the metaphor for like disappointment, you know, disaffected dreams, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Having the sort of promise that you're going to be able to get somewhere, and then having that promise like disintegrate right in front of you. Like the term dead end is a very, very powerful metaphor.
You know what?
And the dead end street is just out his back door. Like, so it's like he lives, like that's his life, is like this perpetual state of expectation and disappointment. Expectation and disappointment. And the other thing too is like roads take you to different places. You know, so like if you're tired of your scene, sometimes we'll just jump in the car and we'll drive and let's go look at something different. You know what I'm saying? But a dead end out your back door means you're not finding nothing different, bro. Like you're trapped here, you're stuck here, that's it.
It also means the amount of time that you spent getting to that point was all a waste because you got to turn around and go back and then start out again.
Right. But it's out of his back door.
Yeah.
Right? So like your life,
like, you're not going anywhere.
Your life is stuck in this perpetual, and you know, like that's like, we were watching that Ozarks was kind of a show like that where they had this one character as a girl, blonde girl, and she really did a good job of like presenting this whole like concept of like your life being a dead end place. Like, and it's weird because it's like there's some character, especially now, like you've gotten pretty good at being like, oh, that person, it's gonna be over for them by the end of the show.
Yeah.
Like you could just tell, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, unfortunately, the reason you got really good at that was because, you know, we did that ministry down there, and unfortunately, like, we lost people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get really good at identifying those people, especially if you do it in real life. You know, you got a lot of people in that
Chero.
In that ministry that was like you. I had a lot of optimism for everybody because when it comes to God, I'm very optimistic, and there's a part of me, even though we lost those people, like I believe they're with God right now, and so like there's still, you know, reason for optimism. But it's like, yeah, I didn't really care about you dying and going to hell, bro. Like I cared about the fact that you had 2 daughters, you know, and it'd been cool for you to be able to be around your daughters, especially considering they're old enough to understand what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like when we sent them off to rehab initially, they kind of weren't, but that...
Yeah, to know what was going on, no.
And then, like, we brought him to church, and he did that whole thing in front of his family. His mom was there.
Yeah.
And by that time, they were old enough, because some time had passed by, and then...
Definitely by the...
3 or 4 years later, like, you know? So it's just tough, because I'm like... I don't know, I feel like it almost would have been better if he would have died that day in the bathroom, because... They really didn't know that they had a dad and lost him. You know what I'm saying? But now these kids, like, they know they lost their dad. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's obviously not my call to make, but there's a lot of people that they're not really in a dead end situation, but they believe they are because they can't, you know, they can't see anything else. You know what I'm saying? And like, you could kind of get that feeling from this dude in the song. That's one of the things about like vocalists sometimes that like I think a lot of people miss is like I would watch these. There's a show called Star Search, and it was like a very like prototypical like very early version of American Idol, and a lot of times it was kids that were like child prodigies or whatever, and so you'd have these kids and they'd be singing these like very emotional Whitney Houston songs or whatever. And you could tell, like, they haven't lived enough life to where that song is really, like, pertinent to them. But they're singers, and they know what the notes are, and so they're singing it. It's like, yeah, you're singing this as an outsider, and that's cool. There's some vocalists who, like, when they sing about certain times, like, Jonathan, to me, is, like, the pinnacle of this. But, like, you could tell that the life that they live is what they're singing. And this dude, like... it's that sort of like low energy, sort of I've given up type of energy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I'm outside and there's this like dead end, and there's this girl I'm interested to. She's a young girl. She's laughing. Now raindrops falls like soul. I wonder if she ever heard mine dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's this girl that's bright and full of all this, you know, life and shit, but she lives where he lives because he's on a dead end street just out the back door. I heard what's seeing a young girl laughing. So like, this girl is young, and that's why she's laughing, because she doesn't realize she's on a dead end street just like me, bro.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna take time. That's why he said, like, I wonder if she could hear my soul dying. Obviously, she couldn't, because when you're young, you don't know what it sounds like when a person's soul's dying.
That's wow.
When you're young, you think the people in front of you were alive because they're breathing and eating, and it's not until you get older to where you find out, like, no, that guy's living dead, that girl's living dead, everybody's living dead over here. And you know,
Yeah.
when I was young, I'd read that in the Bible. Jesus would say, like, you know, basically say, "Oh, you guys are dead, but I've come that you might have life." Might. And I'd be like, "What are you talking about, bro? Like, I'm good. Like, I'm awake." And it's not until like you really get outside and life starts to fuck you up that you go, "Oh, okay, that's what it means. That's what it means."
I never thought of it in that context.
Yeah, man, you got. That was one of the major issues with like the whole fentanyl situation, man. It's like you had people that had been so beaten down for so long, and they're like, this feeling right here, like, I don't care, like, and you're like, but you could die, and they're like, and like, I couldn't put it together, you know. And my big thing was like kids, like, you know, because my kids had such a dramatic impact on how I viewed the world and everything. And, you know, when you have kids, when you have a woman, and when you're a young man and you have a woman depending on you, there's nothing that motivates you like having a woman depend on you. Like, there's nothing that motivates a young man more than that. That's what I thought. Then that young woman had a baby bump, and like, your motivation goes like through the window when you have kids, you know? And so like, I always had that as my trump card. Like, boom, I'm going to bring up this person's kids, man. It's not that they don't care about their kid. It's just that they're so beaten down by living in that dead end street, and you know, and especially like in our context, people tell these people that they're nothing. They tell them that they're worthless. When they die, they mock them. We had one person like literally froze to death on a bench, man, like in our city, man. And like, people were, it's crazy, like the shit that they say. So like, you're beaten down inside. You feel that there's a dead end, and then outside, you know that the people that are in your town, like, they think of you as less than dirt. It's very, very hard to get those people to be like, because what I found out was like, they don't believe that they're even doing anything positive for their kids, because they have to go off to rehab or they get locked up all the time, and their kids are seeing them locked up. Their kids are seeing them strung out. So they're kind of looking at it like, I didn't realize this, because to me, like, losing my kids is like the end of the world. Like it's insane. Like, you know, we were, you know, Shorty's, you know, I remarried, you know what I'm saying? But initially with the previous girl, I was like, yeah, man, like, do what you need to do, but like, the kids aren't going, like, the kids are staying with me, period, end of story. And, you know, it worked out that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in my mind, I'm like, yeah, like, I'm going to pull, this is going to be my nuclear card. Like, boom, like, what about your kids? I didn't factor in the fact that these people look at it like they're better off without me. You know what I'm saying? And like, for the couple people that we lost, like, that wasn't true. Like, I don't think that dudes, kids, girls are going to be better off without them. I don't. And we have one person that's doing great. You should talk to her, actually.
I was thinking about that about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, you should talk to her. See if she got out of that situation.
Yep, that's so crazy. I thought of it the other day and then didn't end up doing it, and then I thought about it 5 minutes ago.
So like, we had, and like, that girl too, like, that was one of those situations where it was like, you shouldn't have, she was going to abort the child, actually. And somebody from the crew got her to change her mind about it. And she had the baby. The state promptly went and took the baby away from her. And then when she was back on the road to recovery, the state started like incrementally giving her visitation and stuff back, and now she's got her back full time. And she would, you know, I said, hell yeah, spike that football, bro.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, you know, and she, so it was one of those things where it was like, okay, like this mom, she had it in her, but at the time she didn't, you know. At the time, like she had lost so much belief in herself that
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I didn't know this, but Mark almost died from COVID. He was deaf for a time and couldn't even walk. He eventually recovered. Poor dude beat addiction to heroin multiple times, COVID and alcoholism, and in the end, the Reaper still got him. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like, I think the lead singer here actually died, you know? So, like, it like expanded my understanding. It made me less judgmental. Like, I had a deep love in my heart for those people, but you get frustrated because you're seeing these people like drop like flies all over the place, and then you have people that like never spent a day with them, never, don't know their names, don't know their middle names, don't know their birthdays, don't know anything about their girls, don't know anything about their little kids, but they have all this judgment for these people they've never met in their life, never had the same. Like, I don't make excuses for anybody. Like, you know, those dudes abandon their kids, man. That shit is unforgivable. I don't make excuses for anybody, but at the same time, it's like, yo, you didn't know these people. These people just a first and last name, and they died of whatever fentanyl overdose, and then now you come and you have all these like commentaries about these people you've never met. You know what I'm saying? And it's a tough pill to swallow, man. You know, like the judgment that those people go through, and like I said, like you abandon your kids. Like I get it, but
Yeah.
people don't like. And look, I've never been in that mindset where I genuinely thought my kids would be better off without me. Like I've never had that in my mind ever. So I don't, you know, if you believe that, how would you act? Would you do things differently? Like I've recently done shit that's like way out of my character because I'm like sitting and doing the math. I'm like, yo, like this is not gonna be good for the kids. Like you gotta figure some shit out, boy. And so like, so that part, like I get it, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, he's talking about Jesus knocking on his door and shit. You know, I just. You know, with those folks, with those people that we lost, man, like, you just gotta believe that, yeah, we've been listening to a lot of near-death experiences, you know, and it's kind of like, hey, you want to come with us now? You know, type of situation, and, you know, good for them, but the rest of us are still down here dealing with this shit, you know. But anyway, I cannot stand this word right here. Yeah, that was a lead singer I was talking about. Another member of the band recently passed as well. He died. Why can't we just say died? This is one of the specific Vinisms that's just me being a dick about shit. I just can't stand that word passed. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Like, these people died, man. They didn't pass. Like, what does that mean? But again, like, that's just me being stupid. Like, it's a euphemism for a term. We all know what it means, whatever. But I got hope for everybody. I got a lot of hope for a lot of people. I think a lot of us are gonna get to go home. I think, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you make or don't make, how famous you are, how unfamous you are. At the end of the day, man, people just want to stop the pain.
Yeah.
And the more years you accumulate on this circle we call the earth, the more pain you're going to be in. And if you don't have a way of systematically dealing with that, man, this shit will take you out, obviously. And it's not for any of us to judge, although it's tough because you did make those decisions, you know? But we don't know what it's like. We don't know what it's like to be in a situation where you think that your kids will be better off burying you as kids.
Yeah, but again,
I don't know what that's like, you know what I'm saying?
There's so many decisions and so many choices that an individual makes before they get to that point. Like, They didn't just wake up one day and think my kids are better off without me. Like,
Right.
there was a lot of bad decision after bad decision after bad decision that kept bringing them deeper and deeper and deeper into this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of the things that I saw that was abundantly clear, was how, you know, how it wasn't just one decision that ruined somebody's life. Like,
Right.
I used to think that. You know, like, I mean, like the Dare thing, it kind of had you believing that, like,
Right.
one puff, life's over. You know what I
One
mean?
puff
Like,
of
it's
that
not.
marijuana, and
That's
that's
over
it.
with.
The life is over with.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's like, it's a bunch of, and it's the belittling of the bad decisions, or like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal, and it's over and over and over and over. It's not the first drink, it's the over and over and over, and then you become an alcoholic. Or it's not the, you know, it's, people are unlikely to drink and drive on their first, you know, on their first drink. Probably you drink and I would never drink and drive. And then you get more comfortable with drinking, and then you're drinking while you're doing this, then you're drinking while you're doing that, and then now you're drinking while I can drive, and you know what I mean? Like, this thing just exacerbates, and it gets bigger and bigger, but it's a million decisions that we make that proves that this is the choice that we've made for our life. And like, I feel like that's one of the biggest things that, like, not one of the biggest things, but one of the things that Jesus is Jesus is that way that says, hey, like, these are the biblical principles.
That's true, but there's also, like, I sat down with a kid, and his mom sold him to the drug dealer.
Oh my God! Right, you're right.
So that she could get one hit.
Right.
So what choice did he make?
No, he didn't make any choice in that.
That happened to a kid when he was 8 years old. How's he dealing with pain and suffering?
Right.
All
That's
he knows,
right.
all he knows is to hit that drug. So, like, I get it. Like, he's responsible.
Yep.
And you know, the girl he hooked up with is basically just like his mother. And like,
are you serious?
yeah, like crazy, you know, drug situation, all that shit. You know,
Oh, yeah,
like,
right.
I said, I mean, I don't know if she's, you know, done that with her kid. I'm just saying, like, it's not like, you know, the woman he chose was like far off from the range, but it's like all he knows. So I'm like, yeah, like, I get the personal responsibility angle, but how responsible are they really when that's how they entered into this fucking life? Was your mother, not even your dad, your mother did that to you. Like, I get it. Like, people are responsible, but damn, like, you start somebody off at 8 years old in that kind of a situation, bro. Like, I mean, I just have a hard time being like, you're, you know, like.
Yeah, but the thing is, the reason I say it like that is because if the person is only a victim, how can they get out of it? But if we are responsible for the decisions that we make in reaction, like, you can't do anything. Like, in that situation, what could that kid have done? There's nothing he could have done. That's a situation his mother put him in. But that was a situation that he was in now. But his reaction, you know, if that happened when he's 8.
I don't think he was. Look, man. Damn. You know, my mother. You know, when I first came to the country, I said, "Mom, what's a nigger?" She said, Where'd you hear that? I said, "That's some kid said I was a nigger at school." She said, "Oh, that's just what white people say when they're scared of you." But look, if that kid says that again, just slap shit out of him. And you know me, like, I follow the Bible. The Bible says honor your father and mother. So my mom told me to slap shit out of the kid. So as soon as I saw the kid, I said, "What's that you said?" I said,
You asked him the question so he would say it again.
I did.
Oh, jeez, babe.
Because I got from her that I should have slapped the shit out of him initially. Like, I should, you know what I'm saying? So I said, "What's that you said?" Slap shit. I run for the. So it's like, yeah, I'm responsible for how I reacted to that. But your parents also teach you how to react.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this kid, this happened to him. I'm sure at some point his mom was like, "Yeah, I get it. It's hard. It sucks." Because I'm sure that she has been pimped out by her parent or whatever, and the way she dealt with it was drugs. So, okay, he's not responsible for getting sexually assaulted when he was 8 years old, but he's responsible for how he reacted to it when his mother showed him how to react to it, which was more drugs. So it's like, oh, you're responsible for how you react. I don't know if that kid's responsible for how he reacted, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was only given one option as to how to respond.
But if he grows up and sells his kid, you'd say, oh, well, he's not responsible for that because he's just reacting.
No, if he sells his child, that's something he's doing to somebody else. But I'm saying, within himself as a person, he was treated like that, and then the solution he was given was more drugs. So, like, I get that, and look, anytime you're in recovery, even though I'm talking like this, if I was right in front of him, I'd be like, yo, that has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to stay alive for your kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know how to play the role. But when I'm driving home, man, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, there better be some plan C or something else for these people, bro. God, because I don't see how this person, it's very, like, and, like, it's no, like, disrespect to you. It's just, that was, like, one of my major frustrations was I would get people that were born and raised in the suburbs and had a very, very simple life, and they would say, like, really dumb shit to me, like, for example, if you were on the sex offender registry, you couldn't be around us because there was no way for me to differentiate between adults and kids because of just, like, the practical ramifications of the building. And that got around the entire neighborhood or whatever, and apparently I was a horrible guy for that. So one of these guys called me. He's like, you know, how could you do that? And I said, well, I'm out here protecting these kids. And the guy's like, that's a parent's job. And I'm like, I just went off on him. That was like the last civil word I said to that guy. I said, you fucking, I said, listen, man, this kid's mother sold him to a fucking drug dealer. What the fuck are you talking about? It's the parent's job. I can't even find these parents.
That was the difference.
I'd be night driving 2, 3 in the morning. I'd see fucking 9, 10-year-old kids. Remember that? They'd just be walking around doing nothing. And, like, you're out here from fucking North Carolina telling me that it's the responsibility of their parents to make sure that this kid doesn't get out of here, bro. But I'm like, look, you come from the suburbs, your family, your mom and dad were married, blah, blah, blah. You were a virgin when you got married, all types of... You live this kind of life. Now you got this simplistic way to deal with these people because it's just so simple to you. Like, get the fuck out of here. So for me, it's like, I get it, like, oh, this happened to you, but you're responsible for how you react. I don't know if he's responsible for how he reacts, bro. All the authority figures in his life told him to react a certain way, which was to take drugs to deal with pain. So, I don't know. There's got to be a plan C or something like that. Because I don't think it's as simple as everybody's trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe that those people... Like, I had really terrible circumstances growing up, like, for sure. This is, like, shit I won't talk about with anybody. But my authority figures always pointed me to Christ. Always. And the worst part about it was me saying, oh, you guys are hypocrites, blah, blah, blah. But they never... I had a family member who was abusing prescription meds. Like, they never, ever told me ever that it was a viable option to deal with pain. And never. It was always, I was always given healthy ways of dealing with pain and suffering. I was never given, use this drug, have sex with this girl, blah, blah, blah. So all of those, like, reactions that I had in high school, which wasn't really big on the drug thing. You knew what my problem was in high school. Like, I channeled that pain or whatever into, combat and sex, basically. And, like, I can say that was me. I was not taught that. You know what I'm saying? Even with my mom, like, she had a little violent streak to her. It was not a default everything. I mean, the kid said the word nigger, for God's sake. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, she did not have that as a solution for everything. Matter of fact, the reason I got into Taekwondo was she was like, yo, you're too quick to the draw on this and you need discipline. And she put me in Taekwondo because she knew I needed that and she knew she couldn't get that to me. So, like, there was always very healthy outlets for me. My mom supplemented, like, the male authority figures and stuff like that for me. Like, so when I got to high school, I can definitely say those are choices that I made, for sure. Definitely had, like, influences, but those are choices I made. But this other kid who's getting sexually assaulted and shit by his own mother, but then that same mom says, hey, it happened to me too. This is how you deal with it. No, I don't believe that he's responsible for how I react. No, I don't believe that. So, like, I don't know. Like I said, I would just drive home at times. I'd be like, yo, like, this kid's not going to make... And it's crazy because of all those people, he's still alive. He's still alive, and he's still got his kids, and he's... Shorty's crazy and whatever, and they're still kind of they're still kind of trudging along. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, like, we've lost so many people. I'm just like waiting for that, you know, RIP for dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I got other people like that are really close to me that went out, and I'm like, yo, like, you had no fucking excuse, bro. Like, literally, you had. I don't know.
But that's, I mean, no, that's like what I'm talking about. Like, we have a channel here right now. There's 50 people watching this exact conversation, and then there's going to be people and thousands of people that are going to see this after. So, like, I feel like we're responsible for what we say, and like I think that there's a lot of excuse making that people make, and then they just keep making bad decision after bad decision until their life is over. And that's why I'm saying, like, no, we're responsible for the decisions that we make. Like, everybody has been dealt differing degrees of a shitty hand. Like, I agree. Like, you know, the guy from the suburbs.
It's
saying,
always suburban people. You were raised in the suburbs.
Saying, yep,
it's
guy
always
from the
suburban
suburbs.
people that say that shit.
So what would you say? Nobody's responsible for their decisions. Poor everybody's just having to just.
I didn't say that. What I said was that kid. Like, there's somebody in
but
my.
But I specifically was talking about.
There's somebody taking. There's somebody in my family that this shit took out that I hold completely responsible. But that kid, I don't. Your mother pimped you out when you were 8 years old.
But I wasn't talking about that kid.
I'm just saying, like, suburban people who really haven't been through shit love to talk about personal responsibility and all that, and I get it. And my thing is, like, I'm big on that too, but I just think that there are certain circumstances where the situation is so fucked up that these people don't know left from right or up from down, and I think it's crazy for us to say, well, you're responsible for the way you reacted to it. How?
I mean, I wasn't talking about that kid in that situation.
But I was talking about that person.
Drinking and stuff was the situation that I was bringing up.
But even if they're drinking,
because I brought up the drinking and driving situation.
But again, what I'm saying is, if you were raised in an environment where the drinking was looked upon as a solution to your problem, how can you then say this person is responsible for how they react when they've only been taught one way of existing? That's my issue. Because
you think that they're thinking this is the only way? You don't think that people are like, I really should go to AA, but I don't want to?
Are you serious? Are you serious?
That was a question.
You think...
I haven't had any conversations with these people. Everybody that I knew that was doing a lot of drinking knew that they shouldn't be doing it, but they were choosing to do it.
I'm glad that you've lived a kind of life because I believe that question is valid. I believe that you, like... But it's crazy to me. Like, you... There are things that you looked upon as norms that took you a very long time to see were not normal. Right? There's things that you would have taught your kids where if you were not presented a counter and you thought it was the right way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. You would have led... I'm not going to get into details, but you would have led people into some really horrible situations if you were not presented a counter narrative. Because all your authority figures told you, yep, that's what's supposed to happen. That's how men and women are supposed to interact. So you would have went and passed all that shit down to all the females that were under your influence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I can't say, well, you're responsible for how you reacted to that particular situation when you were taught by your authority figures this is how you're supposed to react. That's all I'm saying. Like, that to me is like completely like unfair to these people. Like, I'm glad that you came up in an environment where drugs and alcohol were looked upon as bad. But there were other things, in my view, that are worse than drugs and alcohol that you were going to go out and teach people to do, and you were going to teach your own kids to do. If you were not presented somebody who said, whoa, that's crazy, no, you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So the shit is just not that simple to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's I think some of it is like, especially Christians, like, they want to have very black and white, easy answers for stuff. But there's a lot of shit where I'm like, it's not that simple to me anymore. I'm sorry. If your authority figures told you that heroin and alcohol were a way to deal with your problems, I'm not gonna say, well, then you should have just known better. Like, how? Because there's a lot of shit that you used to say that to me is just obviously crazy. And it's so crazy that those people in the midst of their, whatever would say it was crazy. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, bro. Like when you got real authority figures that have real vested authority and they're telling people stuff, like, and you see this in the Bible where Paul talks to the Galatian heretics and he tells the Galatian heretics, you guys are going to hell. You're anathema. But then the people that were being influenced by the Galatian heretics, he didn't say they were going to hell. He just said, you foolish, who has bewitched you? So, like, even there, you can see a clear differentiation between...
Say those two verses again?
The people in authority in Galatia, where they were teaching the circumcision heresy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, those people are anathema. They're preaching a different gospel. They're going to hell. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes to the Galatians who are being influenced by these people. He doesn't say that they're anathema. He says, y'all are foolish. Who bewitched you? So the people being...
But there is some responsibility that he's putting on their behalf to saying, you got bewitched.
The people being influenced always have a lesser responsibility than the people who are doing the influencing, is what I'm saying.
Oh, well, I would agree with that.
So, right. So I'm not going to go to a person who is only taught one way to deal with their problems and say, you're responsible. You're not responsible for your mother having you raped so that she could get a hit of heroin, but you are responsible for being dependent on heroin, even though your mother was the one who told you that heroin was a way to deal with your problems. I'm not going to do that. You got to come up with something else. And you can say it to people if you want. That's cool. But I'm not going to do that. I don't believe it. I think that's bullshit. I don't think that everybody is, that there are equal degrees. And this is a reason, you're not supposed to judge people.
I feel like you keep putting words in my mouth in this situation. I wasn't talking about that situation. What I was talking about is somebody who takes their first drink, because the song was talking about drinking. I said I wasn't talking about that, though. Right, I'm talking about if people were drinking and then they keep drinking and then it progresses to now they're doing other things when they're drinking. Now they're drinking and driving and they keep making excuses for it as they go.
Yeah, I mean, that's a simple one, but, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the evangelical instinct to place responsibility on people in every and all situation. And if you look back at this video, you did not just limit it to that.
I didn't talk about that situation with a kid getting.
Well, that's why I said, like, if you look back at it, you might have a different understanding of it. Maybe. I'm just saying that because what you said was the principle was what happened to you. You're not responsible for how you react is what you're responsible for, and that is what I'm contesting. I'm saying you're not necessarily responsible for how you react to the situation either. If the people in your life who had authority told you how to react to those responses. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, I definitely wasn't thinking about that step further because I'm looking at like just we can't blame everybody for everything that happens in our life. But I see what you're saying as far as that goes. That if the authority, because I wasn't thinking about if the authority figures in your life are telling you that, and that's all you really know, then yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like it's not, and like I said. Like, everybody knows me. Like, my mind's a little bit complex. There's people that are very close to me that I lost recently that I don't put that under. Like, you had a counter narrative. I know for a fact you had a counter narrative, and you had people older than you that demonstrated the truth of that counter narrative, and you made a decision. Cool. I have no problem with that. That person's responsible. Great. But the people that only knew the life of the gutter and only had their parents telling them, no, I'm not going to say that the way that they responded to it, they're responsible for. I'm not doing that. And I just think that we as evangelicals got to come up with a different way of dealing with that and talking to those people. Because that, to me, is crazy. Like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Obviously, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know what the ratios are. We were dealing with a pretty extreme situation. Heroin and fentanyl addiction is a pretty dark, I mean, you can't get much darker than that type of addiction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I am hopeful that millennials and Gen Z have caught on to the danger of letting screens raise our children. My wife and I definitely have limits on how much our kids are allowed to do. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, if Archero and his girl are your parents, then yeah, I'm going to be a lot less, compassionate about your situation if you've got somebody that's your father and mother that's being that, I mean, shit, I don't even know if I'm that vigilant about, you know, media and shit and having TikTok raise your kids. So like, yeah, if you're in that situation and our chair was your mother, fine. Like if you had a mother like me, fine. But if you had a mother like this guy, man, all bets are off. You're still around. You haven't killed anybody. We're good. We're good. Like honestly, that's where I was at with a lot of them folks, man. Like, because I had it rough, but I never once had influences that were gonna kill me. Like, I had parents that they knew that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is bad. They knew that they didn't do the best job in the world, but as far as like, I was responsible for everything I did in high school. Everything I got into, I was 100% responsible for it because I knew better. And my brother, he went to the same school I did and didn't do any of that shit. And my little brother, same thing, he didn't do none of that shit. So I've always said I'm responsible for that. But not everybody had the kind of mother I had or big brother I had. That's all I'm saying. 9.5. Archero is a great mom. My wife and I,
9.4.
my wife and I definitely have limits on how much. Well, I think I mentioned your wife in distinction to you, but I'll have to look at the thing again. 9.5. Hey, great songs, man. It's instigated a lot of discussion. This is 3 hours and 19 minutes. Those are usually 2-hour shows, but anyway. It is what it is. We had some good verbal jousting. It had to be done, dear listener. It had to be done. Life is not always cupcakes and what do you call it? Unicorns and whatever people say. So there you go. I'm out. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Hey, love your neighbor. Take care of each other. All that bull. You know what I'm saying? You did it first, then slipped right after and said, a mom like Archero. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we had to add some levity to this bitch. A mom like Archero. Shout out to all